baby Jesus on a pogo stick. This episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, this is a late night episode, is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy for you to create your own professional website. And not like a bullshit professional website, but like a really dope website. I say dope. I'm almost 50. How about that? I'm 46. I say dope. I don't give a fuck. I say it because I mean it. They make dope websites. Squarespace has beautiful designs for you to start with and all the style options you need to create a unique website for you and or your business. I know you probably, there's no way I can do this. This is too fucking complicated. It's as easy as sending an email with a picture in it. If you can do that, if you can attach things, if you can drag and drop, it's very simple stuff. And they offer 24/7 support. You can make your own business and you can start an online store with Squarespace in a wicked easy fashion. Squarespace also even has a logo creator. You can create a clean, custom, simple logo designed for yourself in minutes. Beautifulness, all by yourself. Each design automatically includes a unique mobile experience that matches the overall style of your website. So if you make a website on Squarespace, you can look at it on your iPhone. You can look at it on a Kindle device. You can look at it on a laptop. You can look at it on your fucking Android phone. You get me. You understand what I'm saying. Mac, PC, whatever. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase, go to squarespace.com and enter the code word Joe. That's squarespace.com and the code word Joe. It says Squarespace, a better web, starts with your website, but that's ridiculous because the web's pretty fucking awesome already. Change that shit, Squarespace. Anyway. Joe Rogan. Squarespace.com, enter in the code word Joe. We're also brought to you by Stamps.com. And with Stamps.com is a way to avoid a lot of the nonsense that goes along with sending shit through the mail. Like, let's say you start your own website with Squarespace, you start selling shit out of Squarespace, then you got to send it. Oh, good googly moogly, son. You do not want to have to go to the fucking post office and wait in line with a bunch of other people that don't want to be waiting in line and a poor person behind the counter that's got to measure all your shit and package it up. You can get rid of all those steps and handle it all completely from your home while drunk and naked. And it's totally legal. And you do it through your computer. You use Stamps.com. You don't have to get drunk and naked. It's just a suggestion. And I don't know how you deal with things when you're naked or when you're drunk. You might make poor choices. So you might not want to use Stamps.com when you're drunk and naked. But if you're sober in your home, you can do whatever the fuck you want. What am I, your dad? My point is that you can print official U.S. postage right there from your home computer, slap that shit on a box, and weigh it with the digital scale that they provide as a part of this delicious $110 package, which includes up to $55 of free postage. Squarespace is an awesome way to start a website, and Stamps.com is an awesome way to sell shit. I like that they go hand in hand. Do you see how I rock shit, Amy Schumer?
Full circle.
Craziness. Stamps.com has been used by Brian Redband for a long time. If you buy one of his cool kitty cat t-shirts that he designs and makes himself, those are all sent through Stamps.com. It's also how Christina Pazitsky and Tom Segura, when they send your mom's house stuff, they use Stamps.com too. It's an awesome service. And if you use the promo code JRE, you will get this special offer, which is no risk trial, $110 bonus offer, which includes a digital scale and up to $55 of free postage. So go to Stamps.com. Before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type JRE. That's Stamps.com and enter in JRE. We're almost home, Amy Schumer. We're almost home. We're at the home stretch.
Oh, boy.
We're also brought to you by Onnit.com. That's ONNIT, a human optimization website. And that name was only created because there's no other way to describe it. It seems a little douchey and pretentious. We're about human optimization. But that's really what we're about, so there's no other way to say it, unfortunately. It sounds good until you're talking to someone who's skeptical. And then looking at you like, what, bitch? What the fuck are you talking about? Human optimization website. What kind of nonsense? Strength and conditioning equipment. That's what I'm talking about, bitch. We sell kettlebells at Onnit, both regular kettlebells and artistic ones. We have these Primal Bells, which are all the great apes, gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees, and little howler monkeys. And we also made zombie bells. This is the most recent one. All these were done by a guy named Steven Shubin Jr., badass artist, created these awesome things. And then we made them out of metal. And they are all 3D balanced. So although, they look cool and everything like that, we also wanted to make sure they're completely, totally functional. I use the 70, of course, the Gorilla, because I'm a fucking manly man. And I got no time for your bullshit. And if you're preparing for the zombie apocalypse, what better way than prepare with a fucking metal zombie head? And they will last you forever, like literally. After the apocalypse comes and the aliens land and they try to decipher our culture, they'll find a few fucking zombie heads and gorilla heads, and they're like, what the fuck were these people into? They will never figure it out. Mark my words, they would never fucking figure it out. They were like, they worship the gods of the monkeys. No, you dummies. We worked out with them. Onnit.com, ONNIT. Use the code word Rogan and you will save 10% off any and all supplements. That's ONNIT. The code word is Rogan. Amy Schumer is here. Why fuck around?
Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day.
Powerful Amy Schumer.
Hello.
Can we start every show that you're on like that? With a little song?
Please.
Powerful Amy Schumer song?
I would love it.
Thank you.
I want to be brought on stage that way.
Why not? You could do it. You could demand that. People have riders.
Credit. Yeah.
A lot of people have riders. They
Yeah.
put a lot of weird shit in there, like white M&Ms and fucking...
I heard I have the cheapest, the guy I've been on the road with said I have the cheapest rider he's ever seen in his life.
Really?
Yes.
Cheapest? Like, what's your
Cheapest.
rider? What do you require?
It's like, honestly, vegetables and fruit for a smoothie. Like
Oh.
some Greek yogurt. It's just like, he's like,
Beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah.
No
And then
heroin?
wine, which I tell him to hide from me unless I ask for it.
What about a pair of white sneakers?
I should do that.
Clean.
I need like a hip hop. I need a hip hop vibe. I've got nothing.
Well, there's
Got
some
nothing.
artists that do demand things like that. They demand, like, every time I go to one of these places, I always ask the guys backstage, like, what's the craziest shit you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these dudes that are, like, working in these comedy clubs or especially these theaters that have seen, like, rock and roll bands coming through,
Right.
you always want to know, like, come on, man,
What'd
what's
they
the
say?
craziest shit you've seen? Just rock and roll coke stories for the
Yeah.
most part. That's what everybody has. I mean, I wouldn't repeat the stories because I wouldn't want to get anybody in trouble.
Oh.
But they're mostly just coke and naked people stories.
The funniest one I ever heard was T.J. Miller, that comic.
Uh-huh.
He asked for either an actual or a picture of a piñata in the green room. So, like, sometimes the promoter has to, like, draw the picture of a piñata. I'm like, that's awesome. I wish I've got nothing exciting on there. But until recently, there was some mistake where it told drivers not to look at me or not to talk to me. Like, something was in there. And in December, I heard that and I go, oh my God, that's not supposed to be there. Please take that out. And they haven't. I just found out they didn't. So it's so, because I'm always like, why is there such horrible tension on this ride? And then they're like, and I'll talk to them. They're like, oh, it says I'm not. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Like me being like, no, don't talk to me.
I've had that in my rider accidentally as well. Not even accidentally. Like, it was a conversation that somebody must have had
Yeah.
with someone. Like, you shouldn't talk to them.
And
It's like, what are you talking about? Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I used to be really pained by small talk, actually, like on the road, because you have so many little interactions. But Colin Quinn like really turned me on to small talk. He goes so hard into small talk that like people go the other way. Like
It's like an art form to him.
One driver at a time, one person who works at a hotel, like he'll small talk you to death, and it really has like sort of changed the road for me.
I've had some great drivers. I've had some really, really hilarious dudes. I had a dude in New Orleans that grew up in New Orleans and had no idea how crazy New Orleans was.
Craziest place I've ever been.
And in comparison to the rest of the country, like there's certain things you just get away with in New Orleans, like walking down the street with an open beer. Like the cops pulled him over. He was only like, a couple hours outside of New Orleans.
Yeah.
He said he drove a couple hours and he's out there with a beer, like sitting there by his car, drinking this beer. And the cop pulls over and the cop starts asking him questions. And while the cop's talking to him, he puts the one beer down and cracks open another one.
Oh my God. Like nothing.
Like
Just
nothing. Starts drinking the second beer. And the cop was like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, what are you doing? He goes, wait a minute. The cop goes, where are you from? And the guy goes, New Orleans. And he's like, oh, okay. Listen, you can't do that here.
Right.
You can't do that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, you live in a crazy place.
It's such a cultural. I love it there. That's also my favorite place. But I've seen the worst stuff there.
The worst stuff?
The worst.
Like violence?
The combination of everything bad. And I went to college in Baltimore. Like, not a coincidence that they filmed The Wire there. But in New Orleans, I was like 17. I was there in a volleyball tournament. And I was in a Haagen-Dazs. and I saw these like two guys straight from the bayou, and they were talking. They were both like hitting on this girl, and they didn't know that it was a hooker, and they didn't know that it was a guy. And I was like 17. I was like, "Ooh, that's dark." And they were like both like celebrating that this hot girl was talking to them, and I was like, "Oh, one of them is about to catch a dick."
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that happened.
But I love that city. It's my favorite.
A friend of mine went to California, and my friend Eddie. We were right by the Comedy Store. You know that hotel by the Comedy Store, that ramp that's going up.
Yeah.
And this woman was driving up the hill. And my friend Eddie was like, dude, that chick is so fucking hot. Oh, my God. Look how hot that girl is.
Yeah.
And she was a transvestite a transsexual that had done a piece on the Man Show with us. And I said, oh, I know her. And I'm like, she's a he. And he's like, no fucking way. I go, well, not anymore. She's not.
Yeah.
But she used to be. I guess she still kind of is because she has a penis still.
Yeah.
Well, and he was like, what?
What was it? Was it transsexual and transvestite?
Transsexual is someone who has gotten their sex changed.
Okay.
Transvestite is someone who dresses as a woman. Or, you could be a cross dresser too.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird when you define, like what they are. Like what is a person who dresses like a woman?
Would Jim Norton fuck them?
But I mean, not even like a sexual thing. Because if a dress I think you could be a transvestite and be completely heterosexual.
Like Eddie Izzard, I think, just cross dresses, or he did anyway, but doesn't is very straight. I think, right?
I don't know. I don't know why he did that, but it worked. Whatever it is,
unstoppable.
And it's obviously that he's got talent outside of that. But whatever it is, it worked. He did an amazing thing once where he ran around Europe. Did you ever see that documentary?
No.
My respect for him shot through the roof.
See, that annoyed me. I don't even know anything about it, but him doing that, it makes me feel lazy, and right away I'm like, ugh.
You'd have to see it to understand what he did, because it was incredibly impressive. I guess it was on the UK on TV, and it didn't get on TV in America. You got to watch it on the internet. But he ran every day. He ran a marathon.
What?
And he ran all around Europe. It's insane. What he did was insane.
He also does his act like an Arabic. He does his act in a bunch of different languages.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker.
It might not be Arabic. I might be totally.
Whatever he does it in, he's a bad motherfucker. That guy's amazing.
He's like Beyonce.
He ran around the fucking. I mean, he's not an athlete. This is the thing. He didn't do it when he was in shape. He did it when he was fat. He just did it. He just forced his body to do it. He finished a 1,100-mile marathon around Britain.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and that's like a fake headline. I can't believe that.
Exactly.
Real. But so right away you just respect that, because right away I think, what are you running from? What are you trying to escape from? And maybe that's my defense mechanism.
But no, I don't think he's escaping or running from anything. He did it all for charity, and he had a goal.
I'm a monster.
He set this goal in his mind, and he just decided to try to complete this goal. What was the charity, Jamie? Does it say?
Yeah, I think Sports Relief. I don't know. Eddie is finishing. I don't know.
I don't know.
He looks great there.
That might just be a website that sponsored it. There was some aspect of it was related to charity. Oh, his body transformed during the time he did it. He ran 1,000 fucking miles, but he had the most horrendous blisters on his feet. I mean, his skin was torn apart on his feet just because his body was just so unused to this. I mean, that's something you trying to build up to running a marathon, just a marathon. That's a fucking serious physical undertaking.
I could not do a 3K
marathon.
right now. I'd be like, whatever the charity, I couldn't do it.
This guy did 100 of them. Jesus. I mean, Jesus Christ.
It's sad how many heard of that.
How many did he run? 30 or something like that? 43 marathons?
They didn't even put it on TV.
And were all of them a standard marathon rate of 26 miles? Is that what it is? That's a marathon, right? 26 miles?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Is that the YouTube video or a website?
No, but there is a YouTube video of it. You can watch the whole thing every step of the way. And there was parts of it where he was running really, 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 really slow, but he did not fucking quit. It's incredible. You just look at this guy pushing himself. His knees are falling apart, his feet's falling apart, and he just gets up there and he just fucking keeps running.
I just think I can't help it. I'm like, what's he running from?
But why is he running from something if he's trying to accomplish something?
Well, because I'm projecting. I'm like, why would I do that?
Right. You don't want to date anybody that shows up at the gym at 6 a.m. Come on.
No, I think crazy? Being motivated and wanting to take care of yourself is one thing, but then I think something that insane. If it's to raise money for charity, why don't you do stand up and they'll put that on TV in America? Because
he set a goal. He set a goal to see if he could pull it off.
I think we have to agree to disagree because I don't think it's cool. And I like him, and I think he's really funny, and so I feel bad if
No,
this
look,
reached
you've
him,
got a point. You've got a point. I mean, why not just ask people to donate the money or donate the money yourself? Or you got a point.
No, but but not of course, then why even have a fundraiser? But I'm just saying to do that, I don't know. I know zero about it except what you just told me, but it right away that's what I think. But I'm also a jerk.
Here's another optimistic way of looking at it, or positive way of looking at it. He's also, on top of what he's doing, he's inspiring people. Because
Not me.
what he did
Just kidding.
is an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah.
Running 1,100 miles or whatever
What
the
did
fuck
it
he wrote.
inspire you to do? What did
It
you
didn't
do?
inspire me to do anything. It inspired
Did you
a great
donate?
feeling in me. I don't
Really?
even know what his fucking. I don't even know what the charity is.
You just thought
Told
like
you.
that's amazing. Well, you just appreciate humans like doing amazing shit, and I just am like, yeah. Like every year the marathon. No, but I really like going down to the marathon in New York and like rooting. So like everyone's so excited, it's like really emotional. But I'm like, you know,
Do you give a shit about the Olympics when the Olympics come around?
I not the Winter Olympics. I just cannot give a shit about the Winter Olympics. But I like gymnastics. I get into some Olympics.
You know what's the biggest tragedy in all sports is that the Olympics that they don't pay the athletes
Oh, I thought it was like
stupid amounts
Nancy
of money.
Kerrigan being
No,
beat.
those are professional athletes. You know, the idea that they're amateur athletes is fucking preposterous. The amount of revenue that gets generated by their athletic performances is fucking staggering.
Wait, because it's so much?
Yes, it's an incredible amount of
But
money.
only
that
a
the-
couple of them, right?
It's an incredible amount of money that the Olympics itself generates.
Oh,
the
and
Olympics
that they get-
itself,
okay.
when people are watching the Olympics,
Yeah.
there's fucking millions of people around the world, untold millions watching at the same time. And the advertising revenue is stupendous. I mean, they must make unbelievable amounts of money.
Right.
It costs a lot of money to put it on. It's not a free event, but the amount of profit that's generated by the Olympics must be fucking phenomenal. Yeah, it's an excellent opportunity for young athletes. You know, it'd be more excellent. Pay them, bitch.
That's so true.
Give
I
them
never
some
thought of
fucking
that.
money.
These little
not
girls,
a little money either. A shit ton of money.
They throw away their entire childhoods, and then like one of them makes a lot of money, and like there's like a dozen girls never getting their period.
There should be
so
some.
you could watch them for a week.
There should be some sort of scale, you know, where a certain amount of accomplishment leads to a certain amount of revenue.
Yeah, because that's the thing. When you're younger, you're like, oh, if you make it to the Olympics, you're just rich. Like I thought it was like Hunger Games, and you were like a victor. You just like win so much money.
Right.
But really, it's like, wow, even ballerinas. I'm like, oh my God, only like a handful of you make it where you can make a bunch of money, and still you're just beating your body to a pulp. But then a lot of them like never even get there and make no money.
A lot of them, right? Like, what's the number?
I don't know. I talked to a ballerina last season on my show, and she said, like, if you're starring in a ballet, if you're like the New York ballerina, you make like I think under $500 a year.
How much do the Olympic
And that's
athletes?
the best ballerina. That's what. But this, I don't know how much this girl knew.
Do Olympic athletes actually make some money? Okay, it does say they do. This is the actual numbers. The Olympic Committee awards cash prizes to Olympians who win a medal: $25,000 for a gold, $15,000 for a silver, and $10,000 for a bronze. But the money is considered earned income abroad and subject to IRS taxation. So when you win an Olympic gold medal, you win $25,000.
That's
Which, hey,
so depressing.
that's you know, hey, that's a
abusive.
good wage if you're a fucking Burger King employee.
Yeah, that's horrible.
It's unbelievable.
So what's the hope that you're
you
like the
become
one
famous.
person that they're like, okay, now like Nike or somebody wants to.
Exactly.
That
You'll get sponsored.
sucks.
You'll be sponsored by several different companies. You'll make some money off of that, and you know maybe you'll be able to do seminars and shit.
25.
So you get the gold.
I talked to a model also.
motherfuckers.
Like I was like, what do models make? Like, are they just? But the ones at the very top of the game, of course, are making tons of money. But the like really beautiful chicks that are working models make around that. Like they make like maybe $50,000 a year from that.
See,
I'm
that's
like, and you're
not what I've heard.
Really?
Because yeah, my buddy's dating this chick who is a model, and he
like
tells
model
me,
in quotes. She's banging.
no, she's like a real model.
model.
Like she
Okay.
just doesn't advertise in
Yeah.
campaigns, and sometimes she makes $6,000 a day, $15,000 in a day. She's made as much as $25,000 in a day, just
Yeah?
posing. She's not famous. She's young.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stupid
It's-
amounts of money.
Oh.
I
well,
think it varies. Is what I'm trying to say.
But even like,
If you're on a big campaign, I think it varies.
I know only like 3 models, but they work and they've gotten a campaign here and there. They are on the runway, and it sounds like it's like a corporate. Like once in a while they'll have a pretty good payday, but it's not consistent and it's not that much. It didn't sound like that much to me for being that hungry all the time.
Well, some of them isn't it? It's just they can do it naturally. Like some of them don't have to struggle as much.
Like
Or
weight
they
wise,
just have that body shape, that ectomorphic body shape.
Honestly, I've only talked to 3 models because it's not fun to be around them. but they even if they're like naturally pretty thin, they still before doing that stuff had to do liquid stuff and what's the thing where you shoot saline in your
What?
in your butthole?
You shoot saline. Oh, that thing. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, an enema. They'd have to do like something like enemas.
Oh, I thought it was like a treatment or something.
That thing you do before you
Wow.
make me do before the
What?
show.
Shut
I don't
up.
think this place seems that clean. No.
It's clean. Trust me. It looks rustic.
No, I love doing his podcast, but he's always giving me enemas right before. It's so weird. I trust
I
him.
don't want you to have to shit in the middle of the broadcast and ruin what I know is going to be the best podcast ever.
All right,
So
I guess you're right.
Let's pull through this, Amy Schumer.
You're right. Yeah.
Enemas. Where were we? Oh, models. What
Yeah.
the fuck is it about anybody? Like, why would anybody get really hung up on the idea of incredibly skinny people wearing their clothes?
I don't know, but it looks good.
But what I've heard is that it's like a hanger. That's the idea, that you want them almost built like a hanger.
Well, I just had a fitting today, and it was like with someone who knew what they were doing, which I haven't had that much of, you know?
Right.
And she told me that it's all about proportion. Because, like, a lot of people, they think that I'm, like, actually bigger than I am. Like, I'm a size 6, and people...
I don't know what that means.
Like, bigger than a 4, smaller than an 8.
Okay.
Anyway, but then, like, they've been, like... But on, like, there's some websites or whatever... Because you can, like, be like, what's her bra size or what's her size?
Oh, come
I
on,
mean, people will
really?
be like, yeah. But I think there's, like,
You can
websites that
guess
say
it?
I'm, like, a 12 or something, but whatever. But anyway, it's all about proportion and not really about how big or small somebody actually is. But these models that, like, do the best, that the clothes look the best, it is like a hanger. They're, like, basically frail up here. And it looks, but all clothes look dope on them. But there's only, like, a very small amount of chicks that you can work with.
I think there's also a very different feeling that a woman has when she looks at another woman than a man has when he looks at a woman, as far as like what looks good and what doesn't look good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that girls do that other girls think look good. Like there's certain ways that they'll dress or certain things that they'll buy, purses and shit especially, that's really to impress other girls.
True.
Like you cannot impress a guy with a purse, but women are like really, some of them are like really into purses to impress each other with.
Yeah.
Shoes.
I don't like shoes, purses, jewelry. I know nothing. I don't have that. Like I'm missing that.
Good for you. It's probably why you're funny.
I'm just like, no, I mean, but I can be like, oh, that girl like looks great, but I don't even aspire to try it because it seems so out of my range. But I can look at a girl and be like, wow, she's beautiful. But I'm not like, oh, like I wonder what she looks like naked. You know, obviously because I'm not attracted to girls. I sound like I'm like defending myself, but it's so weird to me. But I understand it because I feel like when someone's really thin, like all the things that we want to do naturally, like eat and fuck and everything, we like celebrate people that are able to abstain the most from that. Like, oh God, she really knows how to starve herself, or like she's so. Just we sort of like celebrate people just keeping themselves from biology.
That's a big one for women too, right? The ability to abstain. It's very, it's like, it's a badge of courage or something. It's like,
I can't do
an
it.
admirable, there's nothing wrong. Well, why should you?
It's out of my wheelhouse.
The idea that we're supposed to is so crazy. The only problem with women is, of course, that there's too many guys that are pieces of shit. And the men are more dangerous in their physically in the pieces of shit that you run into.
Yeah.
Whereas women are more dangerous maybe financially in the pieces of shit that you run into.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, if a guy gets fucked over, usually guys get fucked over in a financial way, like divorces or they get set up.
Right.
Like I've seen guys get set up, and it's very disturbing.
God.
When you
I don't
watch
know
a girl,
any guy with any money. Like
I've met-
I seriously have never even dated a guy with
I've
like
met
$1.
I've met guys where I watched them go down. I saw it happening. They were not attractive. They were uncomfortable with women, and they had all of a sudden this really hot girl with them, who like slowly but surely stalks her way into this position, and then bails with a ton of cash.
But then how like isn't that transparent? Don't these guys
No.
that are 80 aren't they curious like why this beautiful Kate Upton lookalike like is in love with them?
It's because they're
I'm
successful.
suspicious of any guy who's better looking than me that wants to sleep with me. I'm like, what? Why? Like, what do you think I
Prove
can
I'm
do
not
for
gay.
you?
Show you I'm not gay, Amy
But
Schumer.
Don't you wonder? And I know not a lot, but I know a handful of women that had guys take their money because I think women are even
sure.
more susceptible to like just wanting that love and being like, sure, joint checking, I'll buy a house in our name.
Well, I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I mean, you can get ripped off no matter what your sex is, what your sexual preference. I'm sure gay guys rip each other off and gay women rip each other off. As a matter of fact, I know they do.
I'm so like...
I know a gay woman who has to pay alimony.
My great grandma was a bootlegger, and she was always like, her liquor store is still on 54th Street, Schumer's Liquors.
Wow,
but
54th Street where?
In between Park and Lex, or
really?
Madison. Yeah, it's right across from Monkey Bar.
That is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
what a great story.
Yeah, but she was just pounding it into my head, like because I think her husband tried to steal money from her, but she like put it away. She's always like, save your money.
Good for her.
Yeah.
You know, it can happen. I mean, you get with the wrong person, the wrong guy, the wrong girl, whatever. That can definitely happen. But I think
sensitive to, like,
that happens more with men. Men tend to be the ones who have more money in the relationships.
Well,
I'm not
they
saying
make
that women.
70, what do they make? 70.
I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I'm not saying that women can't make money. Don't jump down my throat. I'm not saying you. I'm saying people out there on the internet.
I wish that I've ever dated a guy that had anything for me to steal. Yeah, I make a good amount of money now, and like
now it's
so
tough.
it's weird, like because guys are just like, and I'm like,
you have to start dating athletes.
Oh, pass.
Black ones too.
First of all, I cannot pretend to be interested
in what, basketball?
In any. I like going to games, but I can't I don't ever want to be like wearing a jersey and being like, they're gonna win. I just don't want to do that.
Once they slip you that giant athlete dick.
Do you know I still haven't been with a black guy? Isn't that pathetic?
Like I said, once they
right, maybe
slip
I'm scared I'll be under the trance.
You will. You'll be dancing. You'll change.
Oh my God.
You'll change. You'll start wearing beads and shit. And
I'll wear a jersey as a dress with a belt, big
hoop
hoop earrings.
You go hardcore.
I'm on a VH1 reality show, like fighting with other chicks.
No, you'll avoid that. You'll be fine.
I don't think so.
You're not going to change your personality entirely. You're just going to crave the black dick.
No, I had one encounter with a huge dick, and I talked about it on my my last special. I tapped out. I was like, no way.
Well, maybe the dude didn't know how to use it. And he was assaulting you with it.
I mean, how many ways are there to use it?
Listen,
don't you just go like?
I don't even think about it.
Really?
I got one
when it's that big, like, what are you supposed to do? You just have to like
stretch out your vagina.
Yeah, I was like, we're not gonna have a life together. I'm not gonna power through this.
Well, how about powering through? How about you change your shape? How about it stretches out, just like when a woman has children, her breasts stretch out and then deflate. Imagine.
No.
If having sex with that guy on a regular. Plus, he's a super athlete. He's probably constantly horny.
Oh my God. No. Are athletes known as being more horny?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe I should.
Without a doubt. For real? You kidding me? I would imagine.
I'm never in a relationship where it's like I have the same sexual appetite as the guy I'm dating. It's either like they are like wanting it too much or it's me wanting it too much. Like I've never really had it even out. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's been like.
Yeah.
That's good. That's encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happens. I think it's way harder for a chick. I mean, I'm just guessing.
I know it
obviously.
is. I think so because
it's way harder.
But I don't know if your girl is like, no, not tonight. Does it like hurt your feelings? Are you like, what's wrong with me? Or you're just like,
No,
or
she's
someone
tired, or doesn't want to, or whatever.
Yeah, but also you've been, if you're with somebody for a long time, it's different. Also.
I don't think there's any reason why. Two people can't figure out that they're not sexually compatible. And if you start dating each other and you get to a point where you're like spending a lot of time together and then you hit that thing, like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, okay. We got to figure out what's important here because
Right.
there's a bunch of shit that's important here. The big important one is caring about each other and having a good time together. That's the
Yeah,
number one,
being
right?
buddies.
That's number one.
Yeah.
But number two is you like to fuck each other. And if you don't put it at number two, what are you putting at number two?
Yeah.
What is there?
No,
What's number
that's-
two?
No, I think
Financial
you're right.
security. I mean, what is it? Coexisting interest.
No.
I have almost nothing co-interest with my wife. There's
Yeah.
not one thing that she likes, except a few TV shows and some art things and some. But all of her hobbies, like things that she enjoys, they're just her things. And then we hang out, and we have fun together. Like you don't have to have the same mutual desires or the same. You don't have to be into the same sports. Like I've actually heard guys say that they would never date a girl that doesn't watch sports. Because the last thing you want is her complaining when you're watching sports. Fuck that. If she doesn't watch sports, I don't want to date him.
Yeah. I have a scene on my show tomorrow night about that.
Oh,
I swear
really?
I'm not trying to work it in,
That's
but
awesome.
it's called Chick Who Can Hang. And I just want to tell you about it. But it's guys sitting around. They're like, I just want a girl. Like, oh, this
That's
girl
hilarious.
Joey. She had like a lantern jaw, and like really, yeah, like she does my fantasy picks, and then you realize like they're just describing dudes. Like it's just. But I mean, I know. I know girls that are real into sports, but I'm
Yeah.
not. But the difference is I don't care about sports at all. But I'm not like, and I don't want you to. Like I'm busy and I'm psyched to do my thing and I have my interests. And like, please do you.
I saw a tweet once where a girl said that girls who are into football get bigger diamonds. It
I
was
can't
like one
relate.
of those Twitter pictures, and like a bunch of people like retweeted it, and I think it was like a girl with like a sexy football outfit on or something, you know?
That's so awful, and I feel like that's like the image of that's like what girls see. And even I've been going because the NBA is like a big part of this movie that I'm going to do, and so I've been
Oh
going to a lot
shit!
of-
What did I say? Amy gonna get some
wait.
black dick for the first time.
Shit, I don't even know if I was allowed to say that.
Oh,
Whatever,
don't say it. It didn't happen.
But anyway.
Nobody remembers on the internet.
But anyway, like seeing these, just seeing the way women are represented on TV, like all these Real Housewives, like just
Yeah.
no one's doing. Even if they're like, oh, we had like this luncheon for charity, like good, whatever, good. The thing that's getting edited and what we're seeing is you guys being monsters, and like these shows. This is what girls are seeing. Like I don't have any. I have no jewelry. Like I don't know the girls that I'm close to. No one cares about a handbag. No one gives a shit. But
That's
that's not the
incredible.
girls
Where are
that you
these
see on
girls?
television. They're all
Where are these
comics.
girls?
They're all like
oh, see, they're all.
it's
they might as well be
Rachel
dudes.
Feinstein, Nikki Glazer.
Yeah, well,
Peretti.
you're all a bunch of artists. You're all trying to be
Yeah.
comedians. If a comic like all of a sudden became incredibly obsessed with keeping like an upstanding or attractive appearance, that would like immediately
dead in the
preclude a lot of the comedy.
Yeah.
You know, because you wouldn't be relaxed at all. You would be like such a you're inciting like a look, a way
Yeah.
of someone looking at you like, look at her with her bag. That
I
dress
can't.
probably
That's what
costs a lot
I
of
can't
money.
believe that people care about that stuff. And it's not that I think I'm better than that. It's honestly insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane to me that anybody would put value on, like, just it's so
Right.
transparent. Like, look, this is expensive. I think that's so
I think
crazy.
you're totally right, but let's play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
What if you are just really into beautifully crafted things, whether it's a watch or whether it's a car or whether it's a purse? Isn't it possible that it couldn't? That I see that a lot of people, I believe you're right. A lot of people, they're watching that stuff and they're looking at different people that have different things and they want to show off. They want to
Yeah.
show everybody that they've got the purse that costs X or the
Yeah.
shoes that cost Y or, oh my God, look at the size of the rock she's got.
Right.
There's certainly people that do that. But isn't it possible that there's other people that could just enjoy a beautiful purse
Yeah.
or enjoy a beautiful home?
I also
or,
haven't like seen that. I don't know anyone with really expensive stuff. So if someone was like, look at this watch, it costs 20 grand. Like I've never seen that. And maybe I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. I'm about comfort and like, I like traveling, I like my bed is expensive. Like I like, things
Right.
that sort of lend themselves to experience, but I haven't seen, but you know what, if you have so much money and you're like, oh, I want to get this beautiful thing. I understand that. But I do know a lot of dudes that are like posting pictures of their possessions they got. And,
on
like,
Instagram.
yeah, and I'm like, it makes me like, oh, come on, like you don't have to do that.
Well,
That's-
some dudes have to.
But why? What is
'Cause
it? What
that's
does that
some-
mean?
Well, they don't have to. Of course, they don't.
But it's
have
rappers. It's like rappers are like, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously, I actually love hip hop, but that was the lyric I just went to. I've got this. Like, that's obviously not what they say, but it's, you know, it's like a lot of it is like about
how much
possessions.
you have.
And
Yeah,
what you have.
showing your shit off, going on the Dub magazine cover with 6 cars and
Yeah.
Of course. That's part of that culture.
So I think that's where that comes from. It's like attached to just ego and just like alpha stuff.
Well, it's also a culture that's rebounding from periods of extreme like slavery, extreme poverty. Like there's generation after generation of negative things, the racism, the riots, the civil rights movement. Like all those things are so recent. It's hard for us to even wrap our heads.
I know, it's so recent. It's humiliating.
We're so white too.
I know.
We don't feel it. But I have friends
feel white.
that are half black, half white. I have friends that are black. I've seen the differences in how people react to them, and it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
You know, like big dark black dudes get treated with fear everywhere they go. It's hilarious.
So that really is upsetting. I never really paid that much attention to it because like a couple of my best friends growing up were black. Now they're white. No, they were black, and like I never really thought about it until like going on auditions, because the sign-in sheet would be like for the whatever Susan, and I sign in, and then it's like drug dealer, and then it's just like these black guys are coming in, they're like signing in, and I'm like, oh man, like this is just what society has done. They're like, this is how we see you. Like these guys were great actors. It's like
Listen, Amy, someone's got to play the drug dealer. Wouldn't you want to be a great actor? You want it to be some real drug dealer? What the fuck are you trying to say, you liberal bitch?
No, we had this last season on the show, we had a guy, he was a mugger, and in the scene it was called Skip Therapy, and it's a really funny scene. It's like and Kyle Dunnigan, the comic, is in it, and this guy like steals my bag, and we needed it to be a stunt guy, and so but I forgot that. So the guy who came, he was this great stunt guy. His name's actually Muhammad Ali.
Well, that's his actual name?
It wasn't him, but that's his name. And he came, and I was like,
wow.
we cast this black guy as the mugger. Like, are you serious? They were like, no, like he's like really great at martial arts and stunts and stuff. And
The best is when you have a white mugger that doesn't look like a mugger at all.
Yeah, and you're like, ugh. Oh God, I hate when shows do that. Was that on Seinfeld? Like, there's some shows where they're like, the guy steals the purse, and you're like, oh my God, never has this guy even run before.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't think we could ever even wrap our heads around what it would be like to be discriminated against solely basic, just completely based on the way you look, and to have it feel like that's insurmountable. And then once you do make it and you get big, I could see all the braggadocious behavior being like exuberant.
Yeah. Oh, I was like,
Just,
is that?
That's not a word. I made it up.
But
Exuberant.
I mean,
Sounds good though. Jubilant
but
and
what do you
exuberant.
get? People look at me, like just getting on stage. Just like my first 10 years. I feel like it was like, it's like, ugh, this bitch. Like I look like I'm gonna be a dumb bitch. I know that. Like
you're so crazy. You do not look dumb.
I look like I'm gonna be a dumb bitch. Yes, I do.
Are you saying dumb bitch meaning just a woman? Or are you
just like a dumb white
You think you'd look
woman.
dumb?
I think I look like if I saw me in like a mall, I'd be like, ugh. Don't you ever like?
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I mean, like, people have known who you are for so long, but do you like? How did people like?
I look like a meathead for sure.
Yeah,
I've
if
always
I just
gotten that.
passed you, I'd be like.
But I have a lot of meathead tendencies. It's like it's a rational prejudice to think of me as a meathead. I mean, I'm a fucking cage fighting commentator, for God's sake.
Right, and I am a dumb bitch.
And I'm a dumb bitch too. I consider myself a silly bitch.
Yeah.
But I mean, but the problem is that we have this idea that everyone's so different, and then these people that are so different can't be friends. Like, I have friends that don't work out ever.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian is my friend. Brian has like just started working out after like 4 years. He started working out, and he smokes cigarettes constantly.
When did he
He's
stop?
totally unhealthy. I mean, he just stops. Like, he's not like. Well, my point is, like, I'm not. Like, it's not like I can't hang out with other people that don't fucking lift weights and like to watch fighting. Like,
I don't
my
even
friends are all
think of
different.
you like that. I mean, like, I know you're in shape and whatever, but that's not. But I mean, I've also spoken to you, but I don't know if I just like walk past you.
Yeah, I think it's easy to pigeonhole people.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of us that are a combination of things. And that's the people that are most fascinating to me. When I meet someone and I think that they're, I prejudge for whatever reason and think, oh, this person's probably this. And then it turns out that they're like a combination of things that I've never even met before.
Yeah.
Those are the greatest when you meet someone that doesn't fall in any category.
Yeah.
And you get to go, oh, I have misconceptions. And then,
Right.
like, this person is just a unique individual, completely on their own little trip and cool to see. And then that runs into your database, and now your spectrum sort of broadens a little bit. Your ideas. That's one of the things that I think one of the reasons why people get in like so many shit relationships, because their spectrum is like super narrow. They've only had like a narrow band of people, and the
Right.
type of experiences have been like really similar and negative over and over again.
But other than it just being a specific like type, socioeconomic, that kind of stuff, don't you think it's just like those patterns that were set up just real early on, just from your like, young shit?
It definitely can be, for sure. You also get it from your parents, I think, plus and minus. I think some people see their parents involved in like really negative relationships, and they completely change their gears, and they just reject it like from the jump. And then they don't take any shit from anybody. They don't let anybody fucking turn them into a doormat.
Totally.
And
It's either or.
Yeah, it's either or sometimes.
Yeah. I do that. I do the I
Either.
do the former. Yeah.
Of course, that's why you're
I'm
a
like,
comic.
oh my God, you can't give me the love I need, and you're a narcissist. I'm like, come here, come here, come here. I'm like,
Yeah, comics. That's part of the whole reason why we became comics, is because we had a hole.
Yeah.
They were trying to shove some funny in there, stuff up that hole.
Yup.
And anybody who doesn't have that hole, guess what?
Guess what?
You're not funny.
Fuck you. Go run 90 marathons. I'm just kidding. I respect what you did, Eddie.
Yeah, I think it was only 46 too. Right? Did we
Let's not
establish?
give him more credit than he's due.
I mean, anybody can do 46.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think you can't be a comic unless you're unbalanced. But I
Yeah.
think somewhere along the line you can be balanced. At least I like to believe so. That you can balance it out.
You can?
You can right the ship. You just got to figure out like what are your needs, like as far as like your psychological needs, and how do you
Yeah.
meet those? How do you maintain a good psychological existence? Like,
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting healthier.
yeah.
I hope. But
Do you feel like that because
Yeah.
you're more successful, so you're more relaxed too? That's got to benefit you a bit.
I am more relaxed, but I don't. But it's just I'm just like less stressed by some things.
Yeah.
But I am having like sort of more pressure on me. But I think it's just
right,
like
showbiz pressure.
Yeah, but I think it's just like taking a step back and keeping the people close to you that will tell you like that was stupid or like you look
Right.
like dog shit. Just people who keep it real. So I have like people I trust.
And you keep it real for yourself too. I mean, you can tell
I
you're,
think so.
you're constantly questioning things. And do you worry about that though? Because that is an issue with a lot of people. People worry about becoming famous and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden going cuckoo. Because we've kind of seen it.
Yeah, definitely. I do worry about because you get so like every day I feel like somebody like slaps you in the face. The way I started going out on the road was on the Last Comic Standing tour, and we had to do meet and greets after every show. And sometimes it was like an arena. It would be like 3,000 people, however many would wait. And they voted for some people. So some would come over to me and be like, my husband likes you, but I don't. So I just like got used to, and it was like 40 cities or something. And I just got used to like this defense that's just like built into me now. So I've been like trying to break down, forget my childhood insecurities, like what happened just the first times I went out on the road. So I'm afraid my defenses got so built up that I had to really like break them down so that I could sort of let the right ones in. But I am afraid that my defenses will get too strong because you'll see like really famous people that are like your idols or comics you love, and you meet them and they're so disappointing because they're so withholding, and it's like you're like, yeah, it's probably because they've been wronged by so many interactions, but you still can't let that happen to you. And so that is something that I am aware of, and I don't want to let happen to me because I am like, afraid of somebody saying something or like hurting me or trying to take too much. And you know what I think about it with Louis C.K. When I first was interacting with him, he was like kind of standoffish with me, and he should have been, because I'm sure I wanted something from him. Just being a newer comic, you see someone, and at the clubs, like there's like, you just have this urgency as a comic, like, and you don't know what to do. Like no one can tell you, this is what you do to be a better comic. This is what you do to get work. Even if they tell you, just get on stage as much as possible. You like can't hear it. So Louis being so like sort of guarded with me, he should have been. And now like we have a very nice rapport, and it's always good to see him and we talk. I kind of like resented him a little bit for being cold to me at first, but I'm like he should have been, because I'm sure I didn't even know what I wanted from him, but I'm sure I wanted something from him. So I
Right.
get it, but also, like you were saying before we were on the air, like, just, people project stuff onto you if they have like an interaction that's less than satisfactory, but it's not about you. Like, you can't change how anybody feels about you. So, but I'm, whatever, my long rant, my point is just like, I'm trying not to become an asshole and to give
Right.
people the benefit of the doubt, at least. Like, I'll go into every interaction like, hi. And then if they say something to me that shuts me down, then that's, at least I went into it open.
Right. I feel what you're saying. And I think that concern is a good thing to have. And it's cool that you're thinking like that, because we all need to learn from the people that we've seen that have disappointed us. you
Yeah.
know? From the
Yeah.
people that we've seen that, just for whatever reason, someone became a prick because they became famous.
Yeah.
And that's happened to a lot of comedians. I've seen it. And they stop being funny, too. There's another weird thing that happens. They get a little too
Yes.
famous, too much adulation, too much, they have a sitcom or something like that, and then...
They want credit for like their new art they're doing. Like, look, I know I was funny at one point, but now I play the standing bass, and like, if you want to come see me, that's what you're gonna get. And it's like,
Who does that?
well, I'm not. I mean, like, it's not the standing bass, but I'm just saying. I think because I even will have those impulses like, I don't want to be funny right now, just and but you're like, but then I'm like, bitch, that's how people know you.
But wait a
Give
minute.
it
But wait a
up.
minute. But why don't... You need a podcast. That's what you need.
You always say that to me.
Amy
but
Schumer, you need a goddamn podcast, because you could... First of all, you're really good at it. You're very smart. You're very articulate. You'd be fascinating at breaking things down. But all those misconceptions would go away if people got to listen to you talk. Then you wouldn't worry about if people knew you, because you would put it out there. So many times they would be like real clear.
But I'm not that worried about if people know me.
Right, but... Well, okay, I see your point. You're not really worried that people know you, but your interactions.
Like,
You're
if
worried about your interactions with people.
Yeah.
Okay. You just want to make sure that they're as good as possible.
I want to like know that I did my best
Mm-hmm.
and that I was open to having a nice interaction and making small talk and whatever. I don't know what I want.
But we're talking about, like, you were saying you worry about getting detached. You worry about becoming one of those people that's that gets goofy.
Yes.
One of the
you
best
think having a
ways to
podcast
avoid
keeps
that.
you like grounded?
100%, because you get feedback all the time.
Yeah.
You constantly get updated and checked. You constantly
But I don't. But what's the feedback good for? I mean, and I'm on Twitter. I'm sorry. I know I'm on Twitter, and I do think you're right though. But then I don't think it's good to reinforce negative feedback. Like, someone will write like, you're disgusting, and then you look and it's like, oh, they write to famous people all day.
You just block them. You don't have to.
Right, you just
interact
block
with
them. I just
Yeah.
like, I would never reward like that.
Well, you don't. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, sometimes people will have valid opinions about what you're doing, whether
Yeah.
it's stand up or whether it's a podcast or whether
Right.
it's the fucking upright tuba or whatever you're doing. Everybody,
Right. Too.
whatever it is,
That's really funny.
everybody has. They're gonna have opinions. They're gonna have opinions on everything you do.
Yeah.
But sometimes having those opinions, like if they're mostly swinging to the right side,
Yeah.
they're mostly swinging to the good side, it gives you sort of a frequency that
Yeah.
you know that they appreciate it. You like tapped into
Yeah.
this thing, like people love the Amy Schumer show. Boom, inside Amy Schumer on Comedy Central. Now Amy has a blog.
Yeah.
Hey, watch Amy do videos. I'm gonna go do laundry. Like you tap
Me.
You tap into a certain vibe when you get a certain amount of feedback.
Yeah, I feel like as a comic, there's that urge to communicate.
Yeah.
Which I have. But then there's also, I think also as a girl, as a bunch of things, and I talk like very openly, and then some of that feedback, it makes you like, oh, should I not be sharing this much of myself? But then you're like, I'm like, no, I've made a decision. Like, I'm going to live my life this way and try to make people laugh and maybe feel better.
Right.
But then like that, sometimes that's met with where you're like, is it worth it? Because this is so hard sometimes. And I'm not just like scared of somebody saying something mean to me. Like, it's also people not respecting your boundaries. And it is, it's like a struggle. And it is like, I do have to like kind of work and be aware of, not becoming like real standoffish.
Right. Well, you're not really capable of filtering who knows you once you become famous. And that's a big difference between that and just being an ordinary person going about your day, especially an ordinary woman going about your day. Because so many men, like with women, take on an aggressive approach. It's almost like it's almost commonplace, right? The guy just aggressively comes up to girls and hits on them.
Women are just as aggressive, I find.
Sometimes, but it doesn't come with the physical threat that it feels like with a man.
Right.
Like if a chick's aggressive with me, I'm always like, oh, okay, it's a crazy bitch. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
But I go, oh my God,
Like,
what
I
if
could
she
get
follows
hurt.
me to my car?
That is true.
You know.
There is the added fun bonus of like, oh, this guy might try and
Might try to
sexually
rape
assault
you.
me.
Yeah. I mean, that's less fearful when you're a man. I mean, you always could worry about someone doing something to you.
To be honest with you, it's a real bummer to know that you could be sexually assaulted.
I couldn't even. I mean, I can imagine, but I couldn't. You know, it's like I couldn't imagine. I also couldn't imagine being pregnant. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
I could pretend to imagine, but I really can't imagine them.
I can't imagine not drinking for 9 months. I'm like, wow, that's my Eddie Izzard marathon. I'm like, what? I'm like, can you just have a press conference? I have a couple
Wait a
questions.
minute. You know,
like,
people drank while they were pregnant for
Not even a
years,
sip?
and
I know.
some of the greatest people that were ever created were created by people who
my
drank.
mom always says that she drank through all 4 pregnancies, but I only have 2
Whoa.
siblings. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I think you're allowed to have a little wine. I think like a small glass of wine is
Yeah.
actually good for your body, and it relaxes you. And it
Right, but
doesn't
I
really
hear
poison
that,
you.
and then I would be like, how
Maybe
about a
an
bottle?
Ambien.
This baby wants an Ambien.
This baby wants to get fucking fucked up. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm probably barren. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
I bet you're not. Find one of them black athletes when you're doing that show. Get some of that super sperm.
I can't.
Squirt. You'll have twins before you even know it. Like, oh my
What if I
God.
went from? What if a year from now I come back and I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got twins. I've got little half black babies.
And you're like, the crazy thing is, all I did was jerk him off. It was nuts. He came over my
like, you
tits, and
did
next thing I
this.
know, I was pregnant. I mean, I was adamant. I don't want kids.
I take you to court for alimony.
They
I'm like,
fucking you don't need any money. They ran through the lines in your crotch like fire ants. Just
oh my god.
the sperm just
What
they're
is a
different.
sperm?
They move. They swim. They
Is
swim
this-
on land. They're
Is this
fucking
the beginning of an
flopping
ad for
around.
On It?
Yeah, they're flopping around like those fish, those snake fish that come out. What are those
Michael
snakehead
Phelps?
fish that come out of water and they walk on the land until they find some new water?
Ursula from The Little Mermaid?
No, a real fish.
Oh,
God
sorry,
damn it!
real
Have you ever
fish.
seen that?
I saw the movie Piranha in 3D, and I was,
Did you really?
I didn't know it was going to be 3D, so I was like so psyched. When they gave us the glasses, I was like, what? It was like one of the best surprises of my whole life.
I used to have piranhas, allegedly.
What?
Yeah, I had a bunch of them. I used to feed them goldfish, allegedly. This is all fiction.
Is it illegal to
Yes.
have...
This is
Really?
many decades ago.
Why?
Back
Why
in
is
the
it
Dark
illegal?
Ages,
Because they're
when it was legal.
dangerous or what?
Yeah. Well, you could send them into, if you were an asshole, you could put them in a lake somewhere, and they'd go in the non-native waters, and they would wreak havoc. And that's happened to a bunch of different fish species. I think the snakehead was one of them, actually. If it's not the snakehead, it's a different fish. There's a walking fish. Is that it?
Ew! Oh my
yeah.
god! I don't need something else
Invades
to
New
be
York
scared
City.
of. We were
People
just talking about
threw
rape.
them. Some people threw these fish in the pond that's in Central Park because they thought it was funny. And so now these things are living in the pond and just destroying everything. When I was there, I saw some fish, some big giant fish,
Yeah.
attack something else in the water. Just this big froth of water, and then whatever had happened, happened. It was like
In
probably
what water was it?
there's a pond in Central Park. You know
Yeah.
that big pond?
Yeah.
In that water, there's some crazy ass fish.
This is in
So
Central
this
Park.
is monster fish in Central Park. Does
Burnaby?
it attack? Does it attack anything, or can you just see it?
Yeah, you can't see much of it.
Oh, that's it right there. You barely can see it. Yeah, that's a snakehead fish.
Somebody just put it
Those
in
things
that
eat
pond.
ducks. They'll eat anything.
Oh my god!
They're like super hardy too. Like once you get them in an ecosystem, you have to essentially kill everything in that lake to get them all out.
What did they do? They just
They just
fished?
wreak havoc, eat everything, and then become cannibals.
Ew! Oh, like I'm already
Yeah.
so
Look
afraid
at this.
all the
It
time.
says if you see this fish see a terrifying fish with teeth in Central Park, kill it immediately. It's too late. The problem is these things are just shooting out eggs and sperm and breeding like crazy. This is like Predator. Like, remember that movie Predator?
Yeah.
Like, if Predator landed and just started killing all the people,
Isn't
that's
that
what
what
it's
it's
like
like?
for that thing. Like, that thing going into the pond in Central Park, it's like, woohoo, let the party begin.
That was such a bummer.
There's lions. A lion just got let into the fucking zebra cage at the zoo. That's what it's like.
Oh, I was like, that happened?
Well, it could happen. That's what's happening with this fish. It's just, that's what it's like. A super predator just got introduced into this humble ecosystem.
That's really depressing. We're about to film on that pond.
Well, you might watch murder behind you. Fish murder.
Oh my God.
But the fish is like the worst thing you could ever see for a creationist. The fish walking on the ground and walking to the next pond. Because if you're a creationist and you see that, you go,
Yeah.
"But,
But I mean, don't creationists do that all day, looking at everything?
yes, with denial.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is one of the most preposterous things ever. Have you ever seen? You never seen one of these things walk?
No, I'm so grossed out just
Pull
by
that up.
seeing its mouth.
Fish
Every
walks-
time I come here, I leave upset because of the videos.
There's
Last
a
time I was here,
documentary
you
from the
showed me
Congo.
guy.
The guy that got fucked by the horse. Did I show you that?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is nothing nearly as disturbing, but there's a video in the Congo where I think it's prehistoric fish eaten by dinosaur bird. That's what it says. There's this crazy bird
sounds
called a
amazing.
shoebill, and the shoebill is like 5 feet tall with an enormous beak. Its beak is
Where
like
is
a
it? It's in the
giant
Congo?
hatchet. Yeah, its beak is like its beak rather is literally like an axe on its face. It's
Yeah.
huge beak, and this bird is something out of another era.
Yeah.
Like there used to be birds like that. They're like 7 feet tall that lived in North America, and they don't fly. They just sort of run around and attack things. And they're predatory birds,
Then why is it a bird?
like a penguin.
Oh,
Penguins
yeah,
don't fly either.
And they're like, look, we're birds.
Yeah, we're birds,
Please
bitch.
Do not fuck with us. Did you see that dinosaur 3D movie that's available right now on Netflix?
I did not see it. Is it
it's
good?
It's really good.
Is
It's
that
my
a little
first
kid
time.
movie?
No, it's not. It's not animated, and there aren't that many dinosaurs in it. But it's
Well, this
really
is a
worth
different
it.
thing. So
yeah,
this is not the
What's it
dinosaur
called?
movie.
Donald Sutherland. That's the dad. He narrates it, and it's like it's really good. I obviously am psyched by 3D. But
Oh, so it's a recreation of like what they looked like.
yeah, and they like
modern
come at
Jurassic
your
Park
head.
style.
Yeah, and it ends like spoiler with a big. It's not a pterodactyl, but it kind of looks like an ostrich. Like it just looks like some sort of like prehistoric sort of evolving bird that's like so awesome.
Ostrich is another good example of a bird that doesn't really fly, right? They don't fly.
They don't do shit.
They fuck you up. They'll kick the shit out of you.
They fuck you. I saw that video.
They try to fuck people?
Why do I think I've talked about this in here before? I remember being real traumatized by seeing a guy laying there blindfolded and he doesn't know what's fucking him and it's an ostrich.
Well, that's not me.
You never saw that?
No.
Who would have
By
seen this
the
if it
time that
wasn't
happened,
you?
I'd already given up on watching people get fucked by animals. There was a certain
Don't
time.
say that, Joe.
I'll tell you right now, I'm done. There was a certain time a few years back where if you said, "Hey, here's a link, a guy's getting fucked by an ostrich,"
You're clicking on it.
I would click it, but not today. Today
Really?
I'd be
You
like,
wouldn't?
again, whatever.
I want to call your bluff so bad.
You wouldn't call my bluff because honestly,
I don't know where it is.
I don't
I'm not
need.
good
If
at
it was
Googling.
something absolutely fantastic where no one had ever seen anything like it
Okay,
before,
yeah.
then I'll click on it. But I don't watch some dude get fucked by an animal.
No.
I'm done.
Pass.
DUN. Done.
Don't even try it.
What you something like that starts a fucking pinwheel in your head.
Yeah.
Starts spinning around.
I
like
don't
how
like
this guy
that.
ever get to
Yeah.
that point? What did he start out as? He used to be a baby one time. What did his parents do to him?
That's
Was
me
he
watching
sexually
porn.
abused?
That's me watching any porn.
Yeah, well, that's a problem.
I
right?
mean, I'll power through it, but still.
well, I always look at it and go, well, yeah, I'm gonna fix him now.
yeah. Too
Unless
late.
it's with some dick.
God has a plan.
Yeah, you can't fix them, unfortunately. But that is exactly how you should feel if you're sort of a humane person.
Thank you.
You see them and you go, oh, this poor people, probably the victim.
And
of
you don't call them
something."
them.
Them? These poor people?
Yeah.
These? Can you call them these poor people?
Those people. No.
Them, them.
The people who fuck for money.
People who fuck for money. It's a weird thing that everybody watches that, but nobody admits to it. Or
They don't
a lot
admit
of
to-
people don't like to admit to porn. That they
To
like
having
porn.
done it. Really?
Watching it? Yeah.
I don't know anyone in my life that doesn't watch porn.
Wow, you hang out with different people than me.
Really?
I don't know a single dude who doesn't watch porn.
Oh yeah.
But girls, you know a
Yeah.
lot of girls who watch porn?
All my friends watch porn.
Your friends are all freaks.
But no, when I was younger, I was like, I did not like porn like at all. I remember I had a boyfriend. I was like 23 or 4, and I was like, I thought it was like cheating. And then I grew up, and then you're like, oh wait, this is awesome.
For a lot of guys, 23 is when that's the age cutoff, so they don't get to that new mature woman. They just find another girl's angry at porn.
Oh, no, I really like it.
I have friends that are like that though. And when a girl gets to like 23, they completely lose interest.
Yeah.
And they move on. Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't
so
know girls that
ridiculous.
like. Yeah, all my girlfriends. Again, they're all comedians, but
I think that girl comedians are probably just a completely different animal.
I guess.
If I had to guess.
I don't know. I thought. I think
They're
the
a little
first
wilder,
porn.
crazier. No?
I don't even think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I'm any wilder or crazier. I think I'm probably like pretty boring, but I, like having sex. Like.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying that on the radio or a podcast.
No, I don't know why it's like so.
Why is that a thing? I mean, everybody, it feels good. Like, why is it?
Well,
It's okay to say you
always-
like massages.
People always ask me, like in, like local press,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, why do you talk about sex so much? And I'm like, it's the most interesting thing we do as people, I think. Like, why wouldn't I want to talk about? I think it's like really funny. Why,
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I think I'm probably having like pretty mundane sex compared to everybody else. Pretty basic, but just like just hearing a girl like mention it just kind of makes people like, why? This is just judging by doing like local press. For
Right. Well, you got to
Rogan.
think about different people's, like the jobs they have and the amount of restraint that's required to keep a job at an office where you're not
Yeah.
allowed to talk about anything freaky
Right.
for like 8 hours a day.
You're right. I haven't had like an office even before stand-up. I was just like bartending. And
Yeah, you're
sorting
like
mail.
Ari Shafir, but you're a woman. So
Thank you.
You're a comic. Like your perceptions, like why they would be upset at you for talking about sex or liking sex, because to them it's like a mind blower. Like she talks about sex all
Yeah.
the time. She just talks about liking it.
But it's not that I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe there's not something in my body right now. I mean, I feel like I have a totally normal sexual appetite. Totally normal. I think I probably watch porn like twice a week.
The controversy is just talking about it, talking about a sexual appetite
Yeah.
at all. That's the controversy.
But like that's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Even I just, did some shows on NPR. And like they act like they've never experienced penetration before. Like,
Well,
they
you
just
remember what
look at
happened with
me.
Sarah Silverman when she did that TED Talk, and they completely censored her. They pulled it down.
But that was about like a kid being retarded.
The
Right?
TED Talk.
The TED Talk was
wasn't
not
it just
about
her
sex.
act? I thought it was her act.
I thought it was like the joke, and I don't remember what the joke
Okay,
was.
well, let's
but,
find out. We should find out since we're talking about it.
man.
Sarah Silverman TED Talk.
Yeah, I don't think
controversy.
it was sexual. I think it was
Oh,
like
okay.
making that joke.
But she's so sexual.
Is
she-
she? I don't think of Sarah as super sexual.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Her act is very sexual. It's very dirty. It's hilarious.
Oh, she's hilarious.
but it's very. Ted versus Sarah Silverman fight turns really retarded.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
on the
it was
covers.
about that.
Okay. Known for her shock and insult humor, was invited to give a TED Talk. She subsequently trashed TED organizer Chris Anderson, who tweeted, "I know I shouldn't say this about one of my own speakers, but I thought Sarah Silverman was god-awful."
I can't believe he wrote that.
Yeah, he's a bitch.
I'm real disgusted.
The
by that
problem
guy.
was that Silverman kept using the word retarded to fight Sarah Palin's recent rant about the word. The whole talk flew right over the TED crowd. So, wow, that is hilarious. Anderson deleted his tweet, but Silverman hit back today with her own, saying that kudos to Ted Chris for moving Ted an unsafe for making Ted an unsafe haven for all. You're a barnacle of mediocrity on Bill Gates' asshole.
That's awesome. I love
Oh my
her
God, she
response.
crushed him.
Yeah,
You're a barnacle of mediocrity on Bill Gates' asshole.
that's so good.
Oh my God,
That's
that is
poetry.
beautiful.
That's Shakespeare.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
And then Steve Case AOL founder Steve Case waded into the fight to defend Anderson. He tweeted, "Shame on you" to Silverman, adding, "The sad thing is you're not that funny." You lose. You lose just for saying that, stupid. It's a sad thing. Shame on you, you lose. Unless you're being silly.
Right there, you lose.
Like
yeah.
if you say something to me and I say, shame on you, Amy Schumer, or how dare you, Amy Schumer, I'm joking. This guy is shame on you for real. So when you say shame on you for real,
You're out.
You lose.
You're out of the
game's
running.
over. The sad thing is you're not that funny. Oh, no. What? Okay, you explain to me the whole barnacle on Bill Gates' asshole line then. Because
That's
that shit is
killer
hilarious.
line.
The fuck out of here.
Do a
You're not
TED
that
Talk
funny.
on why that's not funny. And
Silverman's
silenced.
response was, you should be nicer to the last person on earth with an AOL account. She got him too. Boom, bitch. The fight between Silverman and Case continued, but you get the picture. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh my God,
Good for
that's
her.
so funny.
Well, that happened when they went after Salon.com went after Patton Oswalt and he crushed them.
It's just so arbitrary. There's just you have no control over what somebody picks up on, what happens like that. I mean, of course, if you go on some rant where you're like saying racist shit, like that's ridiculous. But for comics, it's just so it's just a slow news day, and they're like, this was a problem. People just like choose. Norton, after people were getting really mad at me about a joke I made about Steve-O on the Sheen roast, and Norton, he like stood up for me and was like, "Your selective outrage."
Was it Steve-O or the guy who died?
The joke was saying that we all
Why
wished
couldn't it have been
that
Steve-O?
yeah, that was the joke. They'd made the same joke about Geraldo with Anthony Jeselnik, but
it's a comic. You're allowed to do that. Comics are allowed to do that.
Steve-O's on the road.
Oh, I know he's a comic.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm with you.
Yeah,
you know, look,
I know you're with me.
It's one of those things where you go, yikes. But hey, with comedy, it's always who's going to be the first person to make the yike. You know, and a lot of times
I honestly didn't think it was
when
going
a
to be that much of a
sweet-looking girl
yikes.
like you does it, it's like it got an extra impact.
I honestly didn't think that was going to be that big of a yikes.
Wow.
I wasn't going for
I would definitely.
I
think
wasn't going for the headline on BuzzFeed. I swear.
I would definitely think it would be a yike. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking.
Man, I swear, I was really surprised because it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal in the room. It was like we're all hitting.
Well, you
we're
know
all
what?
hitting hard, right? Like I just didn't even think that was going to be a big deal. Honestly,
I just think that's comics.
I think that I'm used to sitting around with those guys at the cellar.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's fun.
it's
know?
how we communicate.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you where half of these guys who are my best friends grew up, but I'm ready with so many insults for them. If one of them walks back wearing a stupid jacket, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Norton is awesome at that too. Everybody's awesome at that.
Oh, Norton has crushed me so many times.
Norton talked about this funny story he talked about on Opie and Anthony where he had a slice of pizza and Louis C.K. saw him on the street and he just slapped the slice of pizza to the ground and called him a faggot. Just for no reason. And he starts laughing when he's telling the story. And he's like, oh, it was a juicy pizza too. It was a nice one.
So good.
But
It's just so good.
You couldn't do that to another person. They wouldn't appreciate the humor in the inappropriateness.
But it makes us so happy. The other night we were just playing Keith Robinson's when he got eliminated from Star Search. We were playing it over and over again in front of him.
And by the way, don't think that you can come up to Amy Schumer and slap her
No,
fucking pizza
no.
down. That's not what we're saying.
No, you have to be a comedian.
Yeah,
you have to
you
be a
have
friend.
to know each other, you
You
son
have to
of a
be
bitch.
a good friend. But that's so funny.
Yeah. It oftentimes.
Attell is the best. Attell. Did you see his special road work?
I heard it's awesome.
It's so funny. It's you can get it. But
I'm
it's
so happy that he's doing well again.
his show looks dope.
He's fucking hilarious.
I
That
think
guy
he's the
is
funniest guy
fucking
alive.
hilarious. I don't think there is a funniest guy alive, but he's one of my favorites, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he I was sitting at the table with just sitting around with a bunch of female comics, and we were all like eating like dessert. It was like a really like sad moment. He just walks up, we're like, "Hey, Dave." He's like, "Oh, what are you guys having? No boyfriend a la mode?" And just like keeps walking. We were all just like,
No boyfriend.
like, do you know every bite of that like tiramisu was like the saddest.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it's just like,
No boyfriend out alone.
and he just like, we're like, "Hey, Dave." He didn't even see us till he turned, and then just boom, fired at us and kept going. Just like,
Right off the cuff. Boom. He's definitely one of the best joke writers out there.
yeah.
Because he's got so much of his act is jokety joke, jokety joke,
Yeah.
you know?
So funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious. That Skanks for the Memories, one of my favorite CDs ever.
So good.
Yeah. It's a nice time to be a comedy fan.
Yeah.
A lot of good comics out there now. It's just a totally different experience than it was 20 years ago, I think. And I think a lot of it is probably because of the internet. Like, more people have an avenue. And there's just more demand for comedy.
But I even think I've staying at some comedy condos on the road. They'll have like VHSs of old specials,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are pretty shitty. Like it'll be like kind of topical, and there is that like off the cuff, like that movie Punchline, how it had Sally Field coming out at the end, kind of just like winging it and like it working out as a comic. That just set up a whole, I think, wave of people being like, maybe I'm amazing at comedy and I don't know it.
Well, that movie was so bad.
Oh, the stand-up in that movie was so
It was
rough.
so obviously not real stand-up. It was like they were faking it, and the audience reaction was fake. You can't do that. It doesn't work with stand-up. Like you can fake being a fucking union boss and screaming at the fucking people in the yard.
Yeah.
But if there's an artificial feeling to that, it's not nearly as offensive as the artificial feeling of watching Tom Hanks kill it with nonsense.
That was so brutal. Like, he's just talking.
You
That's
could, you could see like he probably could be a comic. I mean, he had good delivery, he had good setups.
Who's doing the Pryor movie? I don't know if they cast who's going to play Richard
know.
Pryor yet, but I was like,
Wasn't it going to be Eddie Griffin at one point in time?
I don't know, but I hope it's a comic.
It has to be.
I don't know.
It would have to be. I mean, I would think it would have to be. But even then, it's not going to work.
I know.
One guy pulled it off, ever.
What,
Dustin
playing a
Hoffman.
comic?
Dustin Hoffman. You ever see Lenny?
No.
It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah?
It's fucking brilliant. Yeah. It's
How
fucking
did he
brilliant.
like get ready for it
He
by
did
like
everything.
did he go on the road or anything?
That's a really good question. I don't know what he did, but what he did do when he did the movie is get Lenny Bruce down to a fucking T.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, it was
I
one of
gotta
the best
see it.
performances of his career, and very few people know about it.
Yeah.
I mean, very few people outside of stand-ups even know who Lenny Bruce was.
Lenny Bruce or like Bill Hicks. Is that
Bill
just
Hicks,
kinda...
more people know who Bill Hicks is.
Yeah.
But Lenny Bruce is just sort of a name, like a fucking Sid Caesar. You know what I mean? It's like one of those names you don't really ever
You like
see
know
their work.
you've heard it, but yeah.
Red Buttons. Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
I've heard of him. But you don't sit around unless you're like a real connoisseur.
Yeah. That's something I like to do on the road is go in record stores and listen to whatever comedy albums they have.
Oh,
That's
cool.
really fun. And it first of all, it's like sad that I'm like, and then I'll do this today when I'm in a city. Like there's a sadness to it, but that's and it also keeps me up because I feel bad. Like,
But why is that sad?
I think being a stand-up is such like an isolating life, and so, but I will be like, I'm look forward to like my couple things I like to do in cities. I don't know. I think everything about being a stand-up is like sad.
Really?
I think so.
Do you go on the road with other friends?
Well, I have Mark Normand, who's hilarious, opens for me, or I have my friend Bridget Everett. Actually, now she like closes for me. She's hilarious. She's a cabaret singer, but she like gets
closes
naked
for you?
Yeah, no one can follow her.
What does she do?
She
does
does
stand-up?
Montreal. She does like she'll do like the Nasty Show, but she'll like have to close it because it's not stand up. She's a singer. She's like an amazing singer. But
Is she the one who does that Hannibal Buress show?
she just did Hannibal's show with Method Man.
I keep saying Buress. It's Buress.
It's Buress, yeah.
I always do that. I've known it
I
too
don't think
for
he'd
years.
care. I wish I bet you guys are funny together.
Yeah,
but yeah,
he's
Bridget
a funny
is
dude. So I've seen her. I saw her. He showed me a video. He said she's incredible.
She's a killer. So at first, I just like want people to see her. She's the only like I do stand up on my show, and I'll do like an interview. And the only time I don't do an interview is if she's performing. She's in a band with Ad Rock. She's like such a badass. But I was like, I just need people to see her, Bridget Everett. And so she came on the road with me, and I was like, man, she's such a closer. But then I was like, I still want her to come out with me. So I just like would do an hour, and then I'd be like, that's the show, and I have a special guest. And I have her come out because I feel like she changes people's lives with how amazing she is as a performer.
Wow.
You laugh so hard, and it just, I don't know, it just like changes. And there's,
High praise.
Oh my God.
That's awesome. And you buddies in real life?
Yeah.
See, that
We
makes
like
the
to go
difference
out.
for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You
Like
travel
going
with
on the
your
road,
friends.
always travel with my friends.
Yeah. But don't you just have one person open for you, or
Sometimes
it's like
two.
Oh, okay.
I've
That's
done
nice.
2. So I've done 3 before.
Really?
Yeah, I've done 3.
That would be really fun. We got to go out on a bus this time, and it was fun because my Mark Normand has been opening for me, and he's hilarious. Like, but Bridget, what she does, she goes out into the crowd. Like, it's such a physical
I've seen
thing.
some of the
Right,
videos.
but,
she sits on dudes' laps and sings to them and shit.
She'll motorboat anybody. She airplane like her act is so killer. But it's been like so cool because Mark started opening for me like 4 or 5 years ago.
So the answer is yes. You like to go on the road with your friends. So when you go on the road with your friends, doesn't it make it less sad because you're all just having a good time together?
No, yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah,
But
that's
that
what I
doesn't
figured
erase
out
the 10 years.
a long time ago. I figured that shit out way early. I took a
Yeah.
pay cut way early to do that.
Right, because
I
it's just two.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would even get grief about it. They would say, well, it costs you this much to fly this person out and that
Right.
much to hire him, and, you're making this much less because I'm like, so what?
Well, no, I got my sister traveling with me, my brother-in-law. Like, we have a camp. We have a little camp, and that's why the road has been really sweet lately.
That's nice.
It's fun.
That's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
It also, I find, like, I feel funnier when I'm hanging out with all my friends because we're all laughing at each other.
Right, and it keeps you down. Or like, you're
Yeah.
not going to be like, you get
when
too serious.
like I'm doing Orlando on Thursday with Joey Diaz.
Nice.
Yeah, or Friday actually. This Friday we leave Thursday, but
What's the?
it's gonna be some theater.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna have so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I can't imagine not having fun hanging out with Diaz all day.
Totally.
We're gonna have a great time.
You're gonna laugh. You'll laugh
yeah.
all day.
So the road is like home,
Right.
because Joey's family and we've been together. We've been friends for fucking forever now.
Then you go get dinner after.
yeah, we'll have
have an
lunch.
activity. Yeah.
Joey will go to the gym and tell me about his fucking jiu-jitsu class. Joey's going to jiu-jitsu now.
Really?
Yeah,
To
he's doing
defend his
kettlebell
kid?
swings and shit. No, he's just trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
Doing a little exercise.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's the most fun guy ever.
Yeah, we
to
have
hang
fun
out
on the
with.
road. The first time I did Orlando, when Mark opened for me, and we stayed at this hotel, and it had a water slide.
Ah, that's
And we were
awesome.
like, yeah, I was like, oh my god, and it made me go do that club again because I was like, well, they've got that water slide at that hotel.
Dude, water slide. There was a place in Phoenix where we used to do the Tempe Improv that had
Yeah.
a water slide. It was fucking awesome.
It's just like the
So much
reasons you
fun.
say yes. And comics, you get in, you're like, oh god, that club is super weird, but the hotel's good. Like they do a free hour of drinks. You're like, oh okay. I guess
You know
I'll
what
do it
else has a
again.
water slide? Is the Hard Rock in Florida.
In Hollywood, Florida.
Yes,
Yeah.
in Hollywood, Florida. That me and Tate, my friend Tate, we went down. We had like a couple hours to kill before our flight, and we found out about the water slide.
You did the inner tube
We're
for
like,
two.
fuck
Yes.
yeah! We water slided for like 2 hours before we had to leave.
Hell yeah.
It was so much fun. There were
Oh my
like
God.
tunnels and shit. You go shooting out the bottom of a tunnel.
So good. We were there the second time we went back, and there was a family, and I guess they were Muslim. They were wearing burkinis.
Oh my god!
Do you know this?
That's real?
Yeah, they were all the girls were in burkini. It just but a bikini, but it's a burqa.
Okay,
like a waterproof.
so their
burqa.
face is covered or their whole body's covered?
It was their eyes were out,
Okay.
or their faces out, and everything else was covered.
Jamie, pull up burkini. Jesus Christ!
Boom.
I gotta see this. That can't be real.
Burkini! Yeah, and I was like,
Oh my
man,
God.
I want that. Like, why can't
Jesus Christ!
I would have gone on the water slide 10 more
That-
times in that?
That really, literally freaks me out.
What? That chick looks so. First of all, that chick does not look like the people that were at the water park with us.
But that freaks
That
me
chick's
out.
name is like Kelly.
Come on, that
Look
is
at
so
these.
insane.
Burkini.
That is insane. It's insane that,
They look so happy.
but you're being cute. But it's insane that that culture, like it forces that. That's one of the most insane things in 2014.
That's
That
fear,
here we
right?
are.
I mean, isn't that just fear?
I
of
guess
women.
it's also a pattern. It's a religious pattern.
Yeah.
That religious pattern. One on the left, pow, pow, pow.
Hello.
The one on the right, no. Jesus, you ain't fixing that.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
I went to Dubai once for stand up, and it was a real bummer.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's a bummer seeing people, and they don't think it's a bummer because they're used to it.
Yeah.
It's a bummer for you, though, if you have freedom to dress however you want, and you see something like that, and you just go, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why only the women? Like, how come the men can wear shorts and you can wear whatever the fuck you want? Like, the what?
Right.
Can they, though? I don't know. I mean, a lot of the men wear religious garbs as well.
The Emiratis there could do whatever.
Whatever they want.
Whatever. Even some of the comics I was working with, it was like some of them could say things and some of them couldn't.
I feel terrible whenever I see any form of suppression. So
Yeah.
when I see that,
That was
shit
the
drives
most
me
disappointing.
crazy.
That was the worst thing, was seeing the way that they dealt with like the Filipino wait staff, just the people, because it's such a caste system there. It's like forget about the women being that
Yeah.
shielded. It was like that was the bummer.
Well, have you ever seen? There was some pieces that were done on some unscrupulous employees or employers rather, that were taking these people from other countries. They were getting them from like a guy who'd be like a wrangler, and he would go to these other countries and tell these people that they were going to get a lot of money and tell these people that all these good things were going to happen. And then he would bring them over here to start working for these companies, and then they would take their passports away and leave them in these like subhuman conditions, these horrible conditions.
I did see that. Sleeping like head to toe in a room with 20
with
dudes.
no dirt floors and holes in the ground to shit in.
Yeah.
Like Vice did a piece on them, and you're like, this is incredible. I mean, it's not all establishments there,
Right.
but the fact that it does happen and that the way it's set up, I don't know who's responsible. I don't know if it's the people at the top or the people at the bottom that are hiring these people. Like, who's made the decision to force these people into this situation, take their passports away? I don't know who made those decisions.
And like, I know
but
like that's
it's
really
awful.
awful, but like, honestly, today I asked for a decaf, and like the chick, I know
you're
there
being
was
funny.
caffeine in that.
You're being funny.
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
No, I just like, it makes me, when I hear things like that, I think of like, what's the dumbest thing today
It's one
that
of them.
I thought was important?
Oh, I see.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, the things that I'll be like, oh, this is foam. You call this foam, barista?
Fucking traffic on Santa Monica again.
Yeah, and you're like
Santa Monica
tweeting like,
Boulevard is bullshit.
the weatherman didn't say it was gonna rain, and then you're like, oh, you had to sleep head to toe with people that don't bathe, and you haven't seen your family in 10
great.
years?
The stoplight is down. We have to figure out this intersection on our own.
When I called, they said they had my size. It really makes me feel like a monster.
Well, it's terrible when you really stop and consider how uneven the playing field is from birth to death in this world that we live in. Like, you can get the most awesome spot ever, like Amy Schumer, and be born in a nice city, in a nice town.
I had a bad childhood like everybody else.
Nothing.
I know, you're right.
compared to these
Actually,
people
you're
living
right.
on dirt
You're right.
floors.
I wasn't born to a rape camp.
Yeah,
You're right.
you weren't born to some people in India that sold you to some government because
true.
they need your money that they're going to send back. So you're working in some kitchen somewhere,
Yeah,
some other country.
I know.
They have your passport. You can never get home. Jesus fucking
No,
Christ.
I was complaining about having to learn how to make signature cocktails while I bartended.
That's a real issue, the passport thing. They take their passport
I
so they
know.
can't go back, which is just dark as fuck.
I know.
That is really dark. I mean, that's slavery. That's essentially like you're
Yeah.
not. I mean, there's no dogs, there's no gates, there's no guys with guns.
There's no getting
Other
out,
than
but
that, it's
don't.
slavery.
Isn't the one thing you get like they let you send the saddest amount of money home? Like,
yeah,
that's
apparently.
what it is.
But who knows? I mean, who knows if that money even gets there? If you
Yeah.
can't communicate with your friends back home or your family back home, I mean, how are
Mm-hmm.
you communicating with them? If you are communicating with them and it's free and uncensored, you'd be saying, "Get me the fuck out of here!
Yeah.
They have me. They're holding me hostage." Like,
But that's just the people that get taken. But there's also that's going on where they didn't take their passport, but it's the only way that they can send money home, and it's
Yep.
voluntary. But it's all fucking
no
awful.
doubt. There's a bunch of different. There's variables. There's a bunch of different variables when it comes to people that live, if you are born in a third world country or a really poor village or really poor neighborhood somewhere, it's a fucking huge handicap.
Yeah.
Starting from there is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I have a friend, his name is Justin Vren, and he's been on the podcast before. He used to be a UFC fighter, and then he went to the Congo and met these pygmies, and he's become obsessed with helping them and saving them. So he takes donations and he goes over there and builds wells for them and helps them and endures all sorts of personal tragedies with them. He's gotten sick. He's got some horrible like dengue fever. He almost died when he was over there. I mean, like really horrible, horrible shit just to go over there and try to help these people just because he was over there and he just recognized he had this feeling like, oh my God, like these people are so unhealthy and I can help. Like I know I can help them.
Yeah.
So he just felt incredibly compelled to make that like his life's mission to try to help these people. It's a
Yeah.
really there's him right now. That's the pictures of him with all these pygmy people. It's an unbelievably touching story. He's like the sweetest guy ever.
Did he used to be a comic?
He was a fighter.
Oh, okay.
Fought in the UFC. He was a really, very tough guy.
Yeah.
Really, he was on the Ultimate Fighter, and he was going through all this shit like bullshit, depression, and and alcoholism, and all the problems that a lot of people go through in this life, and found a new purpose when he went over and met these people.
Don't you feel susceptible to that?
Yeah, you can definitely get susceptible. Which part?
I mean, you personally, like, I could see you getting real into a specific cause, but you like your family. So.
Well, I would definitely. I absolutely could see myself getting into a certain cause, something along those lines. But I just don't have the time to dedicate to go over to the Congo
Go
and
off the grid.
but I appreciate and respect that he does.
Yeah.
And I donate, and I think that donating to anything is a good cause. Donating to anything where you can, change people's lives like directly. I think that's a good thing for you to do with your time. I think no matter what, if you can find something in life that enhances your perspective on the world because you've done something positive, that's a good thing. And I think that's really what I got out of what he did the most, is that it really truly enhanced his perspective of the world. He became like this really happy guy with like a real mission.
Yeah.
And he sees like a tangible result in all the care and help and aid that he gives these people. It's just cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's so selfless.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful in that regard, And I think anytime we see something like that, it elevates all of us as a species. Anytime you see someone who's so selfless like that, does something like super, super positive, it elevates us as a species.
Yeah.
And that guy is just a awesome example of what a human being's capable of. It's cool.
Yeah.
And it's also a fascinating thing that this guy was like in the dumps and his life was terrible until he started doing this, and now he's like this really driven, happy person. You see all those pictures, he's smiling and loves those people so much.
Why was his life in the dumps?
Just, hard time. First of all, being a fighter is unbelievably difficult, very strenuous, very nerve-wracking. They're always nervous. They're always, forcing themselves to get into unbelievable shape. You're constantly disciplined because you're doing strength and conditioning work. Then you go into spar later that night, and then you wake up in the morning, you're going to hit mitts, and then later that night, you're going to lift weights, and then the next day, you're going to wrestle, and then at nighttime, you're going to kickbox, and then it never ends. It just keeps going, keeps going. There's never enough fucking hurdles to jump over. There's never enough kettlebells to lift. There's never enough mitts to punch. There's never enough bodies to spar with. You keep going, and you redline your body in a lot of ways. And a lot of guys get depressed just from that, just from overtraining. They get sick a lot. They're exhausted. But if you don't put yourself through that, then you get your ass kicked. Yeah. And that's even worse. There's a lot of shit involved in being a fighter. We think being a comic is hard. It's a joke.
No, I mean I don't know any UFC fighters, but even just what wrestlers go through, I'm just like, man.
But that's unbelievably hard for your body too, because what
it's
they're
like being
doing
in a car accident
all over and over and over again. Yeah,
Jesus.
Over and over and over again.
I've had some sets that I felt like that. Actually, in Orlando.
Well, there's a lot of, for sure, there's a lot of bad feelings that come from bombing, and it's not good for you, and it's damaging. The issue about sports, though, or wrestling or anything along those lines, is that it sort of breaks your body down.
Yeah.
And then you got to live the last third of your life or half of your life with a body that's essentially wrecked from the first half.
Isn't it the same with ballerinas?
Some of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if all of them get fucked up. Do they all get fucked up?
I don't know.
Like, what is the thing that goes wrong? What goes wrong?
Oh, like you're just murdering your body, like just the arthritis that sets in, and
standing on your toes.
Yeah, and if you don't actually ever get injured, which they all do, it's still just so hard on your body. Like you can't like walk as long as you would.
You know what I heard? I heard they just fuck a lot and they blame the injuries on ballet. Really
You're such a liar.
They just take a lot of dick.
Endless ballerina.
That's
dick.
what I heard. They just get a lot of ballet dick, like Baryshnikov dick.
I don't think
they just
do.
Get fucked like crazy.
From who?
That guy from that movie,
that
Black
one guy
Swan.
fucks all of those girls.
The director guy. He's always the guy. He's aloof with them.
Just
he
Natalie
plays
Portman.
games. He fucked the other girls too. Remember, he was like really mean, and he got them real insecure.
Yeah,
like he pulls them in close, then he pushes them away. He plays those creepy games.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That guy did fuck everybody. In White Nights.
If he's a heterosexual and he's around all these insecure women and he has a power over them, like he's the director, that dude just banging left and right. That dirty bastard. He's horrible. He's a terrible person. Might as well be drugging them, in my opinion.
It seems like what guys should do. Guys become comics to hook up with girls. It's stupid.
Well,
You have one guy in ballet.
Well, I don't know if guys become comics to hook up with girls,
Really?
but they definitely become funny to make girls laugh at them. And then along the way, they look at their career options, and usually they're pretty fucking slim.
Yeah.
And stand-up looks incredibly attractive. And then along the way, they realize from doing shows that you could hook up with girls.
Yeah.
I think very few comics get into comedy going, I'm going to be really funny so I can hook up with girls.
Gosh.
I think it's sort of a consequence of like, you know.
They just realized as they were, after they started. All the guys that I'm friends with are, I guess they just make it sound like that was a part of why they got into it.
Well, I think it's probably a part of what makes them funny for sure.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the only times I was ever funny before I was a comedian. Was like talking to girls.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to impress them. It's probably one of the only times I was ever funny, like making fun of things or mocking things.
Yeah.
And it was that or locker room stuff with my friends. There's a lot of that. A lot of like.
Oh, just like making each other laugh.
Well, I came from a weird place because I came from I was a martial arts instructor and I was a competitor, and I did that was like the main focus of my life growing up. So I didn't have a normal upbringing in that sense. It was very abnormal. There was no partying. There was very little drinking or any of that. You know, had a couple girlfriends that tolerated me for small periods of time, and then they'd eventually just get tired of me being
those
crazy.
Poor girls, just like going to your like martial arts shows, like, oh, get that belt. Or I don't know.
I don't think I ever brought one to a fight, an actual fight.
No.
Too much pressure. Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch them sit there in the audience watching me thinking about them watching me. Like my sister came to see me fight once, and I remember it being a wreck. There's one thing I really appreciated about my parents. They never said, I am going to your fight. Like, you know, they would say, do you want us to go? Fuck that. I'm like, no, don't go.
Oh, really?
No, I don't want them to see me hurting anybody and be upset at me, and I didn't want to see anybody hurting me and them being upset. And then the idea that I could get hurt in front of my mother was like extra pressure.
Yeah.
The idea that I would lose in front of my mother, that was also extra pressure.
Right.
Like it's a very solitary pursuit, martial arts.
Did they ever watch you stand up?
Yes, they've seen me do stand up a bunch of times.
And you don't
completely
care?
No, not at all. Totally different thing.
Yeah.
You know, because the stand up is just fun. You know, it was bad at the beginning when I wasn't very good.
Right.
You know, I'd be like, fuck, I'm gonna bomb in front of my parents.
Yeah.
But once I got good, it was pretty easy to have them there. It was fun. It's fun to have them there. Fighting is a totally different thing though. It's just more creepy.
Yeah.
There's just too many things to manage. You know, you're more inside your head. So I wasn't really fun. I was rarely funny with girls even. I was just rarely funny.
Really?
Yeah. I wasn't funny at all until I decided to become a comedian. I was more of like a questioning person than funny.
But you seem like I think you would be funny just by accident. Like, didn't you just make people laugh?
Well, that's what happened was the reason I got talked into doing stand-up in the first place was guys in the locker room. I would be doing impressions of each other. Like I'd be doing impressions of my instructor having sex with one of the students, you know?
Yeah.
You know, or other friends. You know, I would make fun of things.
Yeah.
But it was really rare. You know, but every now and then I would do. It wasn't like something I did every day.
But when you did it, everybody was like, "Oh my
Every
God."
now and then I would wait until they were good.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have something. I'd have something actually funny. Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't like I. It was a very quiet thing. Like martial art, everybody was very friendly, and everybody would go into the locker room. What's up? What's up? But we knew what we were going to do. We are going to go out there and we're going to kick each other.
Yeah.
And punch each other. It was a very nerve-wracking thing to be like very close with people that beat you up. But
see, like I know that fighting is totally different, but I do see a lot of parallels with stand-up.
Yeah.
With that, because it's like, yeah, the people you're most threatened by, you feel the closest to.
In a way, yeah, yeah. There's some similarities for sure.
I think there's some.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about and even like, I like watching. I always liked rap battles. Yeah, I mean, growing up, I just like was interested in them, and I still like them, and I never made the connection that those were kind of like roast or like hanging out with comics to me. But it's like, of course, like even the Wu-Tang album in at the beginning of Method Man of that song, it's like they're just trashing each other, saying what they're gonna do. And I'm like, and I loved that growing up, and then I'm like, but I never even made that connection until like real recently. I was like, oh yeah.
Well, battle rap is all about, you know, like coming out on top. and everybody would come up with the most vicious, scathing shit you
Right.
could say about a dude's mother.
But it had to be real
or his
poetic.
sister. Yeah, and make
Yeah.
it rhyme. But how many times have you seen battle rap that ends in fisticuffs? There's a bunch of those videos online.
Right. That
Where
always
dudes are
looks like they're about to.
Yeah, they are. You know,
Yeah.
they're saying some really nasty shit to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, I think that's probably a lot like stand-up. But stand-up, it's rare that we go head-to-head with each other like that. Like it's only roasts where that kind of happens. And even then,
But the
guy
even with
sitting can't respond for a while.
Yeah, but even if it's not like, but even I know you and I both have heckler. People put videos of us dealing with hecklers online, and that feels like you're fighting training. Like I think that stuff plays a part in just like your defense mechanisms, how you're set up, how you've been preparing for these moments you didn't even know you're going to have.
Sort of. It's also you recognize you have to handle something in real time, and you have to also be completely in the moment while you're handling it.
Yeah.
Because if you're directing a moment
Yeah.
where X amount of people are in the audience, they all paid to see you, and some shit's going down in real time.
And you have to keep the control.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll slip and you'll say something awkward, or you just say something that's just like forced or stupid. And
Or too much, and the crowd's like,
whoa,
"Ooh,
Amy,
like, hey, we
he's just a drunk." I mean, I've had some people swear that things were planted just because people
Yeah.
are so ridiculous.
Right.
I had a guy, goddamn it, I can't remember where. I want to say it was Milwaukee. But there was a guy that was so drunk that he came up to the side of the stage and he was literally falling over, and he reached up his hand like to shake my hand, and then was blacking out, and I caught his hand. I was holding onto his wrist. I was literally keeping this guy standing.
Yeah.
Like he was that fucked up.
Right.
And the audience was howling. I'm like, I've never had to hold a guy up. Like how
God.
fucked up is this guy? Like he stumbled out of his chair, came lunging towards the stage to the
Yeah.
point where I was wondering if he was handicapped. I was
Right.
wondering if he had an issue with his muscles or
Yeah.
something, some physical issue.
And that's really hard. That's when it's the hardest to deal with somebody. Like if you're like, wait.
Yes, this guy might have had something wrong with him on
Right.
top of being fucked up.
Yeah.
But the fucked up thing, there's a video of it somewhere.
I
It's a
can't
video
believe I
of me
haven't seen
holding
this.
this guy up to show that it really is real.
People love it. They're like, because it's like this real moment. They're like,
It was
oh,
so
yeah.
ridiculous. But I mean, those moments, like Amy Schumer's responsible for, you're responsible for, in real time. Yeah, here's the guy. Like he's standing there.
Oh my God.
Do you have either one of those on you? Are you going back to your seat? If you pee your pants, we're going to know.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Amy Schumer's going to pee while this guy.
But I want to see that.
Go ahead. We'll play it.
Why are you holding on to me, man? Listen, that man represents the world. He's the roots of your tree. What you are right now is maybe the drunkest guy that's ever survived. We're gonna learn something just by watching you move. Dude, you need to sit the fuck down, cross-legged, and just close your eyes and think about the 7th grade, because there's no way you're gonna make it up those stairs. Clearly, you've made some mistakes in your life. Let's go back. Let's go back to grammar school. Let's go to 7th grade. Junior high, feeling good. In 2 years, you're gonna be 14. That's when your brother got some sex. Are you really trying to walk? Why are you doing that? Get on your knees and your hands and crawl. Because you don't have the mentality of a human right now. That's why your mind doesn't want to do that. If you crawled like a baby, you'd be fine. That's that guy, folks. That's that guy. Who's his buddy? Who's with him? Are you with him? Is that your friend? Who's right there? You folks look sensible. You fairly sober. Is this man traveling solo? Is he crazy? How can you drink that much and stay alive? This little guy didn't have any idea that I was grabbing him and holding on to him. He's like, what's going on here? Being lifted from the skies. What's up here? He didn't even look at me. Holding on to his wrist. He's like, well, and then there's that happening over there. Look, I wonder what that is. Like he's gonna look up and there's a fucking goblin holding on to him. I don't even want to see it. Wouldn't you love to just see through that guy's eyes right now as he slowly makes it to that toilet? There's those moments, man, when you can put your forehead on the white porcelain and you're peeing and you're like, I gotta fix so many things about my life. That moment, staring into the abyss of that white porcelain, it just comes back to you with answers.
I think that's probably the end of it.
Somebody's fucked that guy.
I forgot about this guy.
Somebody's not only fucked that guy, but called him on purpose so they could have sex with him. Like, where is he? God, get over here and fuck me. That's probably what he was thinking about while he was drinking. Too much pressure. Ugh. This bitch is always looking for dick. We're a mess. We're messy. We're messy animals.
I completely forgot about that, dude. I
God.
totally forgot about that whole exchange, about how long it went on. But the guy was so drunk that I was holding him up, and he didn't even look up at me. He was so drunk, he was just like letting me hold him up, and he was just sort of looking around at the crowd, trying to figure out why.
That's when you're like, what? Where's the security at this venue? Like, who's serving this?
Oh,
guy?
no. They handled it right away.
Oh.
Like, you could see right here, while this guy is stumbling, this guy comes over, the security comes over and grabs him, and they cart him off. And then I started talking about that guy's like the roots of your tree. He represents life. Let him hold you up. And the guy walked the dude towards the back of the room, and then they...
Oh, man, you talked him through it. Like you.
Yeah.
You, like,
Well, I had to. I mean, I had to talk about it. It was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a guy that drunk. There was no way he was talking. He could barely move his body right. He was just making noises with his mouth that didn't represent words. Like, you could see that he was trying to speak English, but he was so drunk he couldn't talk at all.
Yeah. And then
He
you're
was
like,
just,
this guy's a
"Ooh."
victim.
Start wondering what happened.
Yeah.
How'd it go wrong?
Right. That's what happens to me too. And then sometimes, like, you know, if people like keep firing at me, I'm like, don't, because I will pinpoint what happened.
It's not good for either one of us.
No, the crowd's like, oh.
Even if you win, you're gonna feel bad later. You're gonna be like,
Totally.
"Ooh, did I go too far?"
But I've
Did I eat
learned. You
dinner?"
learn that lesson, you know. You learn that lesson. Then you're like, I know if I say one more thing, I will regret it for the rest of my life. So
Well, then sometimes it's funny when you go too far and you go, "All right, I went too far."
yeah, you're like, whoops, sorry, everybody.
Yeah, it's all like, if you actually get angry? That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you actually get angry.
But because nobody wants to see that. But I learned from when I was opening for Norton and Attell on the road, because people would yell shit at them and they wouldn't fire back. It was never like they were being attacked. They would just diffuse.
Right.
So I try to do that now. But then if somebody but then I've also seen if somebody keeps coming at them, they will go to town.
Yeah, there's a difference between someone having fun and someone that's like fucking it all up.
Yeah.
You know, at the risk of encouraging this, because I'm not encouraging this, but when
No.
I was in New York,
Discouraging.
when I was in New York, this guy yelled out something that was fucking hilarious.
Oh no.
It was I was talking about I was trying to figure out who the most famous woman in the world was. I was setting up this bit.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "Your mom."
Got you there.
For the wrong reasons, just for childish, I'm
Shit.
12 reasons. I started laughing. It was just the perfect timing.
That's really fun. Yeah, because it's like, first of all, that is not true. Your mom is not the most famous woman.
But
in
it
the world.
doesn't matter.
No, I know.
Like,
That's
maybe
why
your
it's
mother,
so funny. That's
who
why
makes the
it's-
best cheeseburgers? Maybe your mom.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
you got me.
Who sucked
The
the most dick?
silliest stuff.
Probably your mom.
You're like, shit.
Like somewhere along the line throughout history, there's got to be a woman who has sucked the most dicks ever. There's a world record
Yeah.
holder. They probably don't
I've
keep it
seen that
officially.
video, yeah.
It's not a video. It's probably done.
Bonk.
It's on a cave somewhere, just carved into the rocks. It's probably an old record that nobody ever even came
She
close to
kept
touching.
it, like with little dick chalk marks that people are gonna find.
Like when a
they're gonna
prisoner-
find that in your kettlebells and be like, "Wow, what was going on with this society?"
When a prisoner's calculating how many days till they get out, till they get released, they make those fives on the wall, 4 straight
But it
ones and
was
then one
with
across.
dicks.
You go over
Oh
to
my
her a door of death, and it's just all
It's
these
just dicks. Just endless dicks in the cave.
And right by the cave door, just writing how many dicks she sucks. It's hard to get, if you have a limp, it's tough to get some buffalo. You got to do what you got to do.
Oh, wait,
But
so,
my point is,
Yeah.
imagine if that's your mom.
I mean, I've never had somebody heckle that good. But
Yeah, that's a good heckle.
that's a good one.
But it was only in the moment it was good. If it was another moment, it could be bad.
No, don't
it's,
yell anything out. It shows.
Yeah,
Please
don't.
Don't do
and it worked that time.
But I like talking
Sometimes
to
it
the crowd.
works.
If I instigate, then let's talk. I love talking to the crowd. But if
Do you ever
it's-
do a Q&A?
Yeah.
You know what you should do? There's a thing that they're doing in LA. It's a podcast called Thunder Pussy.
Yeah.
And Thunder Pussy is you don't go on stage with any material at all, zero material, and the audience yells out suggestions.
Whose show is that? Is that Ari's? No.
No, it's Red Band. Red Band and what was it?
Jeremiah Watkins.
Jeremiah Watkins. Sorry, Jeremiah. I spaced on his name. Jeremiah Watkins, very funny young kid. And he and Brian have this podcast where they have guys go up there and they do that. They do everything is completely off the cuff. You do everything with the audience.
But isn't it better to do the stuff that you know works?
Sometimes, but
people
as
in
an
the audience-
artistic exercise, it's a great exercise in creativity.
Well,
because you come up with bits and then they become actual bits. You come up with bits when someone yells out something and you have a
Right.
suggestion and then you try to work it out like
Or you could
several
write.
times.
No, just kidding. I'm
Several
sure it's fine.
times I've
That
come
you
up
come
with
with new stuff?
actual real bits from
Yeah.
that have become real bits.
I try to like make myself do at least a couple new things on every night on stage.
That's good.
Yeah, but I mean it's hard.
Oh, it's
Especially
definitely
the
hard.
crowd will, like they can sense it. They're
But
like,
that's one of the things
"Wow."
that's amazing about this Thunder Pussy idea is because you're doing an hour.
It's an
you're doing-
hour?
Yeah. Well, me, I did an hour. I
You
did an hour.
of completely.
I
But
did
mean,
1 hour once and an hour 10 another time.
How much time did you get out of that in the long run for your
10
set?
minutes out of two sets.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
2 sets is 10 whole minutes.
Yeah,
So,
when
you know, a lot of it
people
gets tossed out. A lot of it's in the moment. A lot of it is not applicable. Or maybe it is someday once I hash it out and
What's
work
that
it out.
festival in Scotland?
Edinburgh?
Yeah, people that do that, they say like, you know, you're there for like a month and you have to do a different hour every night.
What?
That's what some comics say that they go and they do that.
Oh, my
And
God.
then you get so much time out of it.
Didn't Marin or is it Melbourne? One of those. Marin has a
I know.
fantastic story about going over
I know he
to
did
some
Melbourne.
festival and bombing horrifically.
That's probably Melbourne.
I think it's a great story though. It's really good at telling it because it's like really early on in his career and
Yeah.
just the whole thing was just wrong. You know, that wrong vibe thing where it's you get caught up in the wrong. Ugh. And if you start off a week
That
bombing,
like, totally brings up so many feelings right away.
you never recover.
No.
That feeling when you start off Thursday night eating shit on stage.
All the
And then-
blood is in your head. You're like, how am I even still standing here when all the blood's in my head?
And you can't even believe they're going to let you go up on Friday, but it's just because they couldn't find a substitute for you. And you're like, oh my God, here we go.
You start seeing spots. Like it's such a bad feeling.
I had 2 sets at this one place in Connecticut. The first set I had was great.
Yeah.
It was really fun. It was easy. It was fun. The second set I had, it was awful. I was terrible.
Hartford?
I just bombed. No, it wasn't even Hartford. It was like some bar gig in Connecticut. But it was
God.
just early on in my career, and it was just. I had another one after that went well, but everyone gave me the stink eye. The
Oh, everyone
manager
turns
gave
on
me
you.
the stink eye. They
Fair
were like,
weather friends.
couldn't believe that I did well this time
Yeah.
compared to the last time. They wanted to keep bringing up the last time. Even though I had a good set, they kept wanting to bring up the last time when I ate shit up there. I'm like, I know. I didn't do it
remember.
on purpose.
I was the one feeling it. I bombed so bad. I don't think I ever told this here, but at the Schaumburg Improv, which they call the Chicago Improv, which
I know where
is
that place
ludicrous.
is. It's an hour away from
It's
Chicago.
like 40 miles from Chicago. It's an hour if you're lucky. But anyway, I went there and I was opening for Tammy Pescatelli, and I went out there and like I did and I was like in the middle of doing Last Comic, so I've been dealing with all paid audiences. So I was like, I think I'm a killer now, and I went out there. I mean, bomb it, like 20 minutes of just zero, like where I was like, I almost said, is this thing on? Like it was that bad. And so it was my second night, and I'm like 10 minutes into my 20, and I'm dying, and Tammy comes on stage and takes the mic out of my hand. And I'm like, you know, and I'm always like ready to say something, like I'm a wise ass. I couldn't believe it. She goes, Amy, and she's like, everyone, I'm really sorry, but there's been a bomb threat. And I'm like, this is what she says when someone's bombing, like, this bitch, I cannot believe this. But it's in a strip mall. There was a bomb threat in the mall, so we all had to evacuate, and she wanted to be the one to tell them. And so we're all like, I was like, fucking thank God. You know, I was like, this is divine. But we're all filing out
appropriate.
together, and I'm filing out with the crowd, and they're all talking about like how
bad you were.
horrible I was.
Oh my God.
And then just night after night, just taking it to the chin, just like going out there and just eating it. So awful.
Yeah, a bomb threat while you're bombing is never good though.
I don't know.
It's so
if I had
ironic.
like an app on my phone, like calling a friend, like just please Buffalo in 5 minutes, okay? Please.
What was wrong? Was it you?
It was
it
me.
the audience?
Yeah,
What made you turn the corner as a comic?
just I think bombing so many times that you just don't care. And then once you don't care,
You become
then
funny.
because they're not worried, they trust you. And because I think my jokes were funny. It wasn't that my material got that much better.
You were just nervous up there.
I was just like, is this okay? Is this okay?
Oh,
Is this
yeah.
funny? Oh, that wasn't funny? Okay, like quick, let me get to this other thing. Is this fun? Just tap dancing through my set, and then it was like, oh, that made you upset? Well, let me say this thing that's 10 times worse than that last thing you got mad at, and I don't care. And then, just being
accept
totally
that.
unapologetic. Yeah.
Do you think
no.
it's more difficult as a woman to do stand-up?
No.
You don't?
I've had a very sweet path. I think I've worked really hard, and I think, I don't know what the quote is, but like opportunity plus preparation equals something.
Success.
Okay, thanks. I don't know, but it's like I have worked really hard.
Right.
But I think it's annoying. I think it's harder to be a woman. I think being a chick sucks, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Really? For real?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it's awful.
What's awful about it?
Everything. You're like born with this invisible calendar counting down to your last fuckable day.
Wow.
You're valued by your appearance above all else, but at the same, you make less. You're taught that there's no ceiling to what you can do, no limit, and then you learn yes there is, and society wants only a specific thing from you, and even though you're programmed a different way,
But aren't you
And
like
there's
proof
always
positive
the
that that's
threat
not
of
the
rape.
case? Well, that's always going to be the case, right? But aren't you proof positive that there is no ceiling and that you can be successful with hard work and talent? I mean, that's what you've done, right?
I think.
You're way more talented than a lot of men I know.
Thank
But way
you.
way more successful as well.
But the people that have seen those men
Mm-hmm.
and me perform would still tell me that I was their favorite female comedian they've ever seen perform. Like it's a handicap. Like you would you say that? Like you're my favorite black comedian I've ever seen. I think it's really weird.
Yeah. Well, fuck them for that. But I've said that before. She's one of the funniest girls ever.
Yeah.
All time.
Yeah.
Well,
and-
like Roseanne Barr was on, and I
so
went
funny.
like super. I was super conscious to not say that she's one of the funniest women of all time because I
Yeah.
think she's one of the great ones.
Yeah.
I think if you had to pick like a top 50 greatest comedian list ever, Roseanne Barr, in my opinion, is like she was a real pioneer.
Yeah.
Because she had a very specific, unique style when she came out.
Yeah.
She was hard hitting and aggressive, and she didn't give a fuck if you liked her.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't trying to look pretty. Shut up.
Yeah.
She shoved it down your throat, just
Right.
knowing it was good and well written stuff and performance, delivery. So
Yeah.
I could see how that would be annoying. Calling you the funniest.
But then also like just numbers, like how many female comics are headlining theaters on the road?
Right.
How many of them are in successful relationships? How
Is it
many of
one?
them?
Christina
it's-
Pazitsky, that's it.
Yeah, they sort of broke the rule. But Voss and Bonnie.
Yeah.
There's a
a
couple
couple of 'em,
exceptions,
yeah.
but statistically, it's not looking good for the ladies.
And Voss and Bonnie is hilarious too because Bonnie's a smart one and Voss is the guy who's constantly the butt
And
of
then
the
Voss
jokes.
is there.
He's the butt of the jokes.
But
Like
it
all of
is-
their podcasts,
Yeah.
it's like her shitting all over how dumb he is.
Yeah. But then it's like, it's like I am successful as a comic right now, but then it's like, then there's also a price to be paid for that, for being a girl anyway.
Okay, but is it with everybody or is it with idiots? And isn't the price that you
It's not
pay
just
when
idiots.
you're
I
around
wish.
idiots?
No,
It's
I mean,
good people, nice
No,
people.
I think it's most people still want a kind of, I think some people are grateful for the female comics that they love. Like
Right.
I was grateful for my favorite comics were girls growing up and those comedic actresses, and I was really grateful for them. And so I hope that people will feel that way about me one day. But What the fuck am I talking about?
We're just talking about the differences. We were just discussing the differences between men and female comics and how few female comics there are, and about when you look at the number of females that are headlining theaters, and that they were always your biggest influences, and you're always big fans of these female comedians. That's what you're saying.
Such a good listener.
Well, I'm very fascinated by the subject because, you know, I had a conversation once with Judy Gold about an interview that I did where we were talking about.
She's so funny.
She's very funny.
She's so good.
She's an animal too. She fucking she's a killer.
Oh my god.
She's so good. But she's also, you know, she's smart. She's quick.
Yeah.
You know, if you fuck with her, she'll kill you. You know, she knows how to just shut things down, like especially like a heckler.
Yeah.
Shuts them down.
But I remember what I was gonna say.
Well, please do say it then.
Oh, sorry. But I think a lot of people are probably pretty relieved when Judy and I leave the room.
What? Come on. No one who's worth a fuck.
No, I think you're right. And the people I'm close to and the people that I love and that I care about are into it. But but I think still there's a lot of work to be done in the world with like the perception of what we want from women.
Maybe. I see what you're saying. I'm sure I would see it from a completely different perspective if I was you and I'd lived your experiences. My experience, though, with friends and people that I care about is, you know, I don't always agree with Jerry Seinfeld, but one thing that Jerry Seinfeld said that I really do agree with, someone was talking about diversity in comedy, and he was like, look, this is all I speak. It's funny. I want to know what's funny. Like, what I think is, if people are funny. If they're men, if they're women, if they're black, if they're white, he goes, I just like funny. And that's true because Chris Rock is one of his best friends. Was a dude who used to host MTV Half Hour Comedy Hour. Mario Joyner is a guy who's been his good friend forever.
Yeah, but I think that the conversation was with Colin Quinn when he was talking about why he had no women or black people on the first season of his writing in Cars with Comedians, and it's like funny is funny, but are you looking for what's fun? Are you? I don't think of, you know, do you have your hand on the pulse of whose stand up are you going down to watch?
Who? Jerry Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, and I'm just I'm saying that in general, like, you know. What's and I think that's true. What's funny is funny, and like I would never specify like this is my favorite female comic, this is my favorite black comic. Like that's insane to me.
Right.
But I think people what they are looking for, if they're like, I'm gonna Google comedians
in cars getting coffee.
They're yeah. Is that what it's called?
Yes, that's what it is. It's a talk show.
But I don't think
his show.
Yeah.
He does it. He interviews people like Larry David.
Right. So I think that was his conversation. Was it him
talking
on Stern about Colin
Eddie,
saying that?
Well, he interviews people that he thinks are interesting. That's all it is. I mean, he just gets like David Letterman goes for a drive in his Volvo.
Right.
Or,
yeah, and then the second season he had Sarah on. Mm-hmm. He had women on because Colin was like, you're gonna get a lot of shit for this.
But that's not why he did it. I think that's what he was saying when he said the interview. He's like, I don't care. Yeah. He goes, all I care about is funny.
I think you're like that. I think I'm like that.
You don't think he's like that?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. But what I'm saying is, I think that's what he was talking about was Colin telling him like you can't just like have all.
No, it was actually an interview. It was an interview where they were
it was
asking him in an interview.
It was Seinfeld talking on Stern.
No, it was here. It is. So this guy. Here, I'll play it.
Most of the guests are mostly white males. Of 22 episodes.
Yeah, let's get into that.
No, but you
take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys. What's going on here?
But
this really pisses me off. But go ahead. Really pisses me off.
Well, that's okay.
Go ahead.
But you made a comment on the Tina Fey episode that I thought was interesting that I'd like to get your thoughts on a little bit more. You said you were talking to her and you said something about the female comedians. It's a struggle for them to balance their feminine projections with their comedic goals.
Yes.
And in the context of comedy, not gender diverse. I just want to know what you meant by that.
Well, I was kind of curious what it's like to be a woman in comedy as opposed to a man. There is a little bit of a difference, and I thought that might be an interesting thing to discuss from her perspective. She's so successful at it, and I was just wondering how she looked at it, if she even thought about it. And she kind of gave me the answer, which is, yeah, you do have to think about that, but, you know, it's just another thing to think about.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hold on, let him
There
go.
were a lot of things about comedians and cars in the beginning. The first 10 I did, I think, were all white males. And people were writing all about that, which
That's part of the reason why I asked. People had tweeted at me when I said I'm interviewing with Jerry Seinfeld. Ask him about their gender diversity on the show.
yeah,
and that kind
I
of thing.
mean, people think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's just funny. You know, funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested.
Okay.
And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that, but everyone else is kind of with their little calculating, is this the exact right mix? You know, I think that's, to me, it's anti-comedy. It's
Okay.
anti-comedy. It's more about, you know, PC nonsense than are you making us laugh or not?
Right.
He definitely also talked about that, what he just said on Stern, and referenced Colin saying that he was going to get a bunch of shit about that.
Oh, so he's talked about it a few times.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know. I mean,
You disagree with him?
I think I'm not going to disagree with the statement. What's funny is funny. I think what somebody thinks is fun. I don't think you should just have a woman or a person who's not white on to not make people upset.
Right.
I don't think that's, you know, I have my own feelings about, like I have my stuff, my old stuff. What that triggers for me is going back to when I was young, like real young in school, and being funny and having, but knowing and getting a reaction from people like, just try to be like nice and pretty. Like that's what we want from you. Like be a girl. Like shut up. The boys are talking. We're funny. And knowing I was funnier.
Wait a minute. Why does that, him saying that he doesn't believe in anything but funny, trigger that in you?
Because I don't believe that he's aware or looking. I think that maybe he would be more likely to dismiss someone or not really pay that much attention to something other than what he's used to thinking is funny. Like it being like a white. If your favorite comedians, the people you want to have on the first season of your show, your first 10 episodes, are all one type, then that's your type. And I don't think that you can say what's funny is funny, because there are plenty of comedians that go up there and kill, and I'm like nothing, you know. And like Chris Rock, I think I said this on here last time, but he told me like, I'm like, how was his set? And he'll be like, he killed. I'm like, yeah, but how was it? And he's like, no, respect the kill. And like, I was just talking about this with Wanda Sykes. She was like, yeah, sometimes you can't. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes you can't. So it's like, okay, what's funny is funny. What makes a room full of people, you know, tears laughing, you can say, well, they're laughing, it's funny. But to you, it's not funny. But it's not up to you. But I can't tell you what's funny and what's not. Like, I don't think anyone can say what's funny is funny, actually. Because
Sure
it's subjective.
Right, but you say what's funny to you, and that is what's funny.
So I think what's funny to him is who he chose to have on his show.
I totally understand that, but I don't understand why you connect it to like your personal feelings on
Don't
people
you
saying
connect
that
everything
you weren't,
to your personal feelings?
but saying that you weren't funny and you were a girl and that you were actually
They weren't saying I
funnier
wasn't
than
funny.
them.
They were saying like what.
Well, they wanted you to
what
be
they wanted
quiet.
from me.
They
Yeah.
wanted you to be quiet, and
Yeah.
they wanted the guys to be talking, and you were funnier than the guys.
Right, like me, like as a person with a personality was like dismissed. Like
right.
We will come get the girls like when we need them.
I understand you from you,
But why does
personally? But him, why does that? His statement had zero to do with gender or race. Wasn't
How can you say that has zero to do with gender or race?
Because he was saying very clearly he doesn't care. As long as you're funny,
you can say you
that's
don't
what
care.
he cares.
You can make a statement. What's funny is funny. I mean, like that's so easy to say. Like you just. That's such a like I don't care. You can just say I don't care. What's funny is funny.
So you're accusing him of being dishonest?
No,
Well,
I think that
that'd
is
be so
absolutely
confusing.
what he means.
I'm so confused. I love you. I don't want to get into an argument with you about this.
I
'cause
don't
I'm
at
really
all
confused.
feel like we're in an argument.
Okay, good.
I want
good.
you to understand too. What I'm saying is, I believe that he believes what he's saying, and
But you're saying he discriminates in some way because of his choices, and that his choices should reflect a broader range of human beings. Just to,
I don't think I would never use like the word "should" with what Jerry Seinfeld should be watching.
So tell me how his choices bring up in you this
think
idea
to
that somehow or
say-
another you're personally discriminated against.
Because I think to say what's funny is like, I don't think that's true. Because comedy is so subjective.
Right, but
like somebody
it is to him.
Right, but wait, let me like
Okay.
work through this.
Okay.
But that's the thing.
Right.
What's funny is funny to me. It's like, so, but he didn't. I don't think he said that. I think he said what's funny is funny, not
He
what
said
appeals.
he's interested. What this is? He said the language I speak is funny. All I'm interested in is if you're funny. That's what he said. So,
Right. So saying that, but then also choosing 10 white male comics for the first season of his show, he's saying like, sorry, if you guys were funnier, other races and white and women, then you would have been on the first season of my show. And I'm saying I don't think that he's seen. I don't think that he's as open to seeing people other than that prototype. And that is what connects me to my childhood stuff, because people are used to, this is who I'm used to being funny. People who look like this, people who do this. And so that's why I'm connecting it.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. I think you're adding a lot of extra stuff to what he's saying. And I think you're also not taking into consideration the idea that this is his individual creation, this idea of a web show, and that he has probably dozens and dozens of friends. If he's doing 10 episodes and he has dozens of the greatest comedians in the world, I don't think that it should be up to him to diversify his cast.
Neither do I.
So then what he said is essentially, I'm interested in, are people funny? If you're funny, that's what I'm interested in. To him, that's a true statement.
Yeah.
It may be very well subjective. You might think that some of those people are not funny, whereas, you know, there's people that think that perfect example is Gilbert Gottfried. There's people that think that Gilbert Gottfried is the funniest dude to ever walk
Every
the face
comedian,
of the earth.
yeah.
Not every comedian. I know comedians.
No.
who
What I'm
can't
saying is every
listen.
comedian,
Okay.
you can say,
Oh, I
this
see.
guy's hilarious. And then
Yes.
someone else will say, and I don't like it when I would never say any comedian's not funny. Like,
Right.
just, he's not funny. It's like, no, you don't think
Right.
he's funny.
Exactly. It's
So-
like
and
everything else. It's
I
like
don't want-
music. It's like movies.
Yeah.
It's like anything else.
I don't think Seinfeld should have done anything different. And I don't think that he should have to. I think he wants to make the show. He should make it with the people he
Okay.
wants. Just like Girls, that show got a bunch of shit for just having white people on. Like, let them make the show that they want.
Right.
But I'm allowed to. That's allowed to trigger something in me that I can feel like his choice to not do that, even though he has every right. And I think you should make the show you want to make. That does trigger something in me. It's not that
When
I
you
wasn't
analyze
on that
it,
show.
though, do you feel it's fair? Does it make sense objectively when you analyze your feelings inside of you?
No. No.
Okay, so you
people
don't
feel-
validate them. You don't try to justify them. They're just in there.
I
and you're just
understand
accepting
them.
The fact
I
that
have
they
a
get
right
triggered.
to my feelings about it, but I don't think they're right or wrong.
Okay.
And I think all day long we're triggered by people or interactions. It's like why you yell at a bank teller. It's like,
Do
wait,
you yell
why
at
did
bank tellers?
I don't go to a bank. I have a business manager. But you know what I mean? It's like, you know,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
somebody triggers something in you and it brings up old stuff. And I think Seinfeld's so funny. I really like him. I see him when I'm at the cellar, and but seeing that, hearing him talk about it on Stern, it does bring that up for me. And I don't think that, and I understand why it doesn't make sense to you.
Well,
you know?
I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense. Your feelings absolutely make sense. You know, we might disagree with whether or not it's valid, but you seem to think that it's not even valid, that it's just reality. And just these are feelings that are brought up, and these are your feelings, and you don't justify them or rationalize them in any way. You're just being honest about them.
I think it makes perfect sense for why that would trigger that in me.
Right, but as long as you don't hold him responsible for that.
I don't think he should do anything different.
Some people do, though. You know,
I
mean,
don't.
there's a lot of. Well, that's good. You have a very healthy attitude about it.
I mean, I really don't. I think what's saying, like, what's funny is funny, is. I think that statement should, and maybe it did, and I just didn't catch it. But it should include what's funny to me is funny to me, because saying what's funny is funny.
I think that was implied. You know, he's saying I'm interested in what's funny. That's why I speak.
don't know. Some people speak with like a lot of authority about a lot of things. I don't know. I've never heard him say this, but I think some people can act like they are the decider of what's funny and what's not, and I don't think. And I've had a great reaction. Like, I feel very lucky, and like work has paid off, and people come to see me, and I make people laugh, I think. But if someone's like, I don't like your stand-up, I'm like, sure. If they're like, you're not funny, I'm like, no, that's not true.
Right. Okay. I get all that personal shit, but I think you might be applying it in this situation in a way that's like you're adding a bunch of stuff to what he said. You know, I really think you have to
What
take
did
into
I add
consideration.
to what he said?
Well, the feelings, like this, connecting it to him saying that, you know, or him being some sort of an arbiter of what's funny.
You know what I should add into the mix here?
You're PMSing?
No. But
Drugs.
again, that is something that nature creates. That's not my fault. That we're punished for. Like, why are you being crazy? Like, do you think I want to feel crazy? Am I like, ooh, can I please like bleed once a month and feel insane? Because that's what I want. No. And I think I might be PMS. No. But I also, you know, I've been working at the Comedy Cellar for 7 years now, and been a stand-up for 10. And I also, you know, I have interactions with Seinfeld once in a while. And so this isn't just me seeing the comedian Jerry Seinfeld has a web series, and he didn't use it's. I'm not just reading these headlines. I also have, like, you know,
personal experiences with him that lead you to believe he thinks in a certain way.
Just like, and you know what? These are, I'm sure they're unfounded. What they trigger in me, but you can't help that stuff. People do it to me all day. I know I look like somebody you went to high school with that like was annoying or a bitch or something, and people just are, and you're like, it's not my fault, but you're not wrong. You know, so yeah. So when I see that video and what's funny is funny, I do feel like kind of like he's dismissing, not by the choice to just use white male comics in the first season of your show. Like, do your thing, do whatever you want, of course. But it, you know, it does bring up feelings in me, which that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not blaming him, and all you're just doing is being honest about your feelings. And sometimes people trigger feelings in people unintentionally.
I'm not blaming him for anything. Things are going well. Like, I have,
of course,
nothing.
But I'm saying that it doesn't mean that those feelings are invalid. If something triggers those feelings, it doesn't mean that look, life triggers shit in people.
Yeah.
You know, you watch an eagle snatch a fawn and fly off with it. Oh, you might freak out, but guess what? It's tough shit. That's
people will like lash out at me. Like, a girl, when I was opening for Attell, she would write to me like, "I know you're having sex with him." Like, I was like, "What?" Like, he's my friend, and I opened.
Is
for
this a girl that Attell was dating, or just some crazy girl?
I don't even think so. Just
Attell
like
fan?
And it was like, I know, like, she had created this whole thing, and I have people reach out.
That was me, by the way, under a pseudonym.
Was it you?
Yeah.
But I just
tired
like
of you and Attell fucking.
But when people like are mad about something like that, you know, I would like write like, or I would just think like, I hope she's okay. You know, like, this is
good for you.
But it's not
me. I'd hope she get hit in the head by a fucking meteor. Too many people.
But I'm just like, you know, people like will feel real strong about things that make no sense, or they have sort of no business. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But it's like, so you feel that way, and that's okay. I think he's an amazing comic and made one of my favorite television shows ever. And it does And it's allowed to trigger something in me that he. That
I
he
understand
made
what you're
that
doing.
statement.
I mean, you're also trying to dance around your words and be, very fair about all this. It's a very tricky subject. It's a bold one to sort of take on.
I work with these people.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I'm glad you don't think that I think in that way at all. I try to.
But I think it triggers something in you because you're mad that people were.
Giving
mad
him a
at
hard time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was that?
Because I don't think that you should be forced to hang around with anybody other than the people that you choose to hang around with, whether it's cast them on your own television show or whether it's put them on your podcast or whether it's on the road with them.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's annoying. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think you should have to, but I don't love that he didn't naturally want to do that. And I'm allowed to feel that way.
But naturally wanting to do something
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't think you had enough choices. Like, let's say.
Well, then that's a different conversation. But
This
I
is
think
the
you're
whole
right.
the whole conversation because there's only 10 spots. I mean, how many people does he love that are in those 10 spots, and why do one or two of
let's
them
look
have
at
to
who
be
was
women?
who was on the first season.
I don't know. I don't know.
Can you look? Can we?
I have no idea. I really have only watched 2 of them. I watched the one with not Eddie Izzard.
I watched one with Louis C.K. on the boat. That
What's
was pretty funny.
homeboy? Eddie, the other English Eddie. God damn it, famous guy. Not Eddie Izzard, the other one.
Eddie Murphy? Oh no, of course not.
The English
Sorry.
guy. What the fuck is his name?
Eddie,
God damn
the
it.
English guy who's not.
Who is that other famous
Eddie
English
Pepitone.
guy? That fucking other comedian that's on all the time.
He must be one of the 10 funniest
What is his
people
name,
alive.
Jamie? Who's the other? The guy I was on Opie and Anthony with him. Jesus fucking Christ! I can't believe I can't remember his name.
Eddie.
Oh my God!
Come on, he's one of the 10 funniest people
What?
alive.
Thank you, Ricky Gervais.
Oh man,
Jesus
that's so
fucking
funny
Christ!
that you knew. Ricky,
Thank you very much. Amy Schumer's sister comes in the clutch. I can't believe it. Sorry, Ricky Gervais.
I love that she was
Sorry,
your
I
interpreter
said Eddie.
for-
I was so blown away by Eddie Izzard's accomplishment of running 1,000 miles.
What's
he
the name of
stained
the
my
show?
brain.
What's the name of the show?
The Office?
No, his
Comedians in cars getting coffee? Is that what you're asking?
Okay, so the 10 funniest Ricky Gervais.
The
is one
only
of the
one
10
I saw
funniest comedians.
Ricky Gervais and I saw Letterman. Those are the 2 that I've seen. He's had a bunch of them. Alec Baldwin, Larry David, Brian Regan. He had a bunch of his friends. I mean, that's really essentially what he had. He had 10 of his friends, and they happened to be all white guys.
Yeah, I think that triggers.
Chris Rock was on there too, though. I guess was that season 1? Yeah, season 2. Chris Rock was on season 2.
Where's
That's
season 1?
and then there's Louis C.K. in there, and Sarah Silverman's in there in season 2.
Okay, season 1.
Yeah.
These are the what's funny is funny. The 10 funniest
Michael Richards,
people.
Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks. You can't argue that one ever. Colin Quinn and Mario Joyner. There's a black guy.
There's a black guy. So what's
By the way, Mario Joyner is,
He's-
a good friend of his and
he's
a
so
hilarious
funny.
comedian.
Look, I don't think he's having meetings. I just
He's putting
Alec
people on that he
Baldwin
thinks
is
is funny.
nonstop.
Those are the people he got. I don't know.
Barry
I can see what you're saying,
Marner.
but I don't think you're dealing with a
I
large enough
I would
focus
never
group.
put somebody on my show because I thought they filled
Of course.
some diversity count. Like I think everybody should be able to do have whatever. If you never had girls ever on your podcast, that's your choice. And I would have feelings about it. And not because you should have to have them, because I love that you love women and think women are funny. And that's not how everybody
It's not
feels.
all of them, though. I
Of
like the
course
funny
not.
ones.
I know, but I'm saying that's
Well, that's the
something
men
that you
too,
notice.
though. Well,
because there are still men who are just like, the women in the clubs. I swear that's still a thing.
Yeah. Well, I
don't think that Seinfeld even feels that way.
I was going back to what I was saying about Judy Gold. Is the conversation that we had about this interview that I did was what I was trying to say in the interview was that I think it's a way more difficult proposition. Not saying that women can't be funnier or better or more clever, but I think that starting out, there's reactions that a lot of people have that are prejudiced against women that they don't necessarily have against men. When a woman goes on stage, I feel like she's a point behind, at least one. Right away, especially if she goes on stage and she has any sort of opinions about politics or sexuality or anything. I mean, a lot of times women are forced in a lot of ways to be self-deprecating at a level that a man isn't, just to sort of get in the door.
Well, a guy doesn't want to listen to you unless he thinks he could definitely fuck you.
There's that maybe for some people. I don't
No,
want to say
I don't
a
even
guy.
believe that. I don't even believe that. But
Some guys, yeah.
I think I think Judy's hilarious. I think, I'm not like I'm looking at you and we're having this conversation, and I think like men are all triggered by women in general because it's like, who's the woman you've known the longest? Your mom. And
Men
when she
are
would talk too
triggered
much
by women in general.
I think when women talk, when like a woman is talking longer than you, like it can just, I think it.
What about when a man's talking longer? You want to beat the shit out of him. It's a completely different reaction.
Really?
Yeah, when men are talking too long, you're like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's an aggressively assaulting on your senses sort of thing. When a guy is like overbearing and talks too much, men get angry. Mm-hmm. Men might get bored if a woman. Everybody gets bored if anybody has shitty social cues.
Yeah.
If they're boring and monotonous and self-obsessed and they don't understand the ins and the outs of a conversation, the ebb and flow of two people enjoying each other's company. If one person's just yapping at you like I'm doing right now, just yapping at you, I'm not even letting you talk.
No, you are. What are you talking about?
I'm saying.
I think you're right. I think when you go
example.
on a stage as a woman, when you start out, you have a strike against you.
Yes. More than
But
one, I think.
I have enjoyed that strike. I kind of miss it because it was really fun to go up there and surprise everybody. It still is.
Right. So like your first joke, you get off, boom, they start laughing.
They're
you
like,
feel
wait
the
a minute.
tension leave the room.
And then you're like, yeah. And
And then they have the other confidence.
When I got eliminated from Last Comic Standing, because I just, they're bringing that show back.
How dare they?
I know. And they,
Who's hosting it?
JB. Smooth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he host the last ones?
No.
JB Smooth is fucking
He's so
hilarious.
funny.
I got a great story about him.
But they showed me a clip.
One of my worst bombings ever.
Was what? Following JB?
No, I went on before him.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. He was supposed to go on first, and I was supposed to go on second.
Yeah.
We were working together in New Jersey, and he got lost. I got lost, too. It was a really hard place to find. It was some weird fucking college in New Jersey. So the show was already like 20 minutes late, and JB's not here, and I got there late, and they said, we're going to wait for him to come. Why don't you just have a seat in the rec room? So I sit down in the rec room, and I start watching this documentary on the Malibu fires. And oh my God, is it depressing. People who lost their homes, and this kid was calling out for their dog. They were hoping their dog made it, and they're walking these smoldering fucking embers of their house, and they're walking around, Rusty, where are you, Rusty? They're calling out for a dog, and then this guy comes down, and he was a fireman, and he didn't even lose his house. They saved his house, but his neighbors lost their house, and this guy was weeping. I mean, openly weeping. He was talking about how this house is all he has, and that he saved for 40 years to build this house, and this was his house, and he was so worried that he was going to lose this house, and he feels bad that he's happy that he kept his house because his neighbors lost their house, and he's fucking crying and weeping. And they go, okay, JB Smooth is still not here, so we're going to have you go on stage. So can you go on stage now? And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, let me just get a water and I'll go on stage. And I just went on stage and I ate the shit buffet of my life.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was with me, and I tried to explain it to her why. She had seen me doing well before, but I tried to explain to her, like, I was just not going to do good. There's no way I would do good.
Yeah.
It was horrible experience. So I went up there and just ate plates of shit. And then JB Smooth shows up after me and destroys, just levels the place.
Yeah.
And they were so happy to see him because I was so terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awful. And they were like, he was really funny at NACA. I swear he was funny. Like, I'd hear them talking when I got off stage about how bad I was.
That's the worst.
Like, the people that booked it, they were like trying to say at the convention he was very funny.
We
At the
liked him.
college he was really funny.
That's why we bought him.
And then I go, I'm sorry, I watched that thing on the fires. They go, why'd you do that?
Yeah, that's not smart.
I'm like, you fucking sat me in that room with a TV that was on. I didn't flip the channel to that shit. That just was on.
Oh my God.
I learned a lesson though. It's valuable what you have in your mind right before you go on stage. It's very, very, very important.
Yeah.
I've done it more than one times where I've
You're
gone on
like,
stage
"Ooh,
after seeing
Schindler,"
something
you're like, "Ooh,
awful.
Precious is on. Let's just catch this while they're introducing you."
Read a book about the Kennedy assassination once, all day. Read this book all day for like 10 hours, and then went on stage
my
and
God.
just ate dick. Just chomp, 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 chomp,
Yep.
chomp. Just couldn't be funny.
Gulp, gulp.
I was like, they fucking killed Kennedy. They fucking killed Kennedy, okay? The casket was empty. Okay, there's a different in the autopsy report. I was fucking ranting to anybody who wanted to listen to me.
Now you're just listening to Eye of the Tiger, watching Home Alone.
No, now I just try to be relaxed and have fun,
Yeah.
and I have a bunch of different songs that I like to listen to.
Yeah.
I like to listen to like fun music, and have my friends around, but no negativity. I got no. Even if something negative happens, I'm not getting in
Everybody has to have good energy.
there. Yeah, but I'm not getting in there. I gotta go. See you. Just giggle all the way out of there.
Yeah.
While rocks and fucking torches are being thrown my way. You gotta know what to let in and what not to let in right before you go on stage. It's super important, especially when people pay to see you.
Yeah.
Someone's going out there to see Amy Schumer. You can't go
their
on
weekend.
stage.
No,
Yeah,
I try to do the best I've ever done every time.
that's huge. That's everything. I mean, that's what endears you to fans. There's no other way around it. And you remember what it was like when you were a fan.
Yeah.
Bill Burr was on the podcast, and he said it best in sort of his own Bill Burr type language. He goes, I remember when I was a kid, I'd go see a band, and then you go see them a year later, and they fucking phone it in. They fuck you. And I never forgot, and I make a deal with people. I'm not going to fuck you. I'm not going to fuck. No, I'm not going to fuck you. I'm going to write new jokes. I'm not going to fuck you. I'm going to work hard.
He's one of the the best.
Well, he's a real artist, I mean, he's
Yeah.
really that guy. He's really a great comic. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do in this life. He found the perfect occupation. He's fantastic at it, and he's got a real ethic for it. There's a gang of them right now. There's guys, people that people haven't heard of, like Christina Pazitsky and Tom Segura is gaining steam. Those guys are gaining steam, and their podcast is gaining steam. And then there's people that people forgot about, like Attell, where he's
Attell and Bill Burr are my I would pay to see them above everybody else right now.
Me, it's Stanhope. I pay Steve Stanhope over everybody. He's my boy.
Him. He's so funny.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of great ones right now.
Chelsea Peretti, I think, is like.
I need to see her.
You have to see her.
I need to see her. Joey Diaz is my all-time favorite, though. If I had to choose one comic, the last set that I ever got to see in my life before the fucking great meteor lands, it's Diaz.
That's a tell for me.
Diaz smoking a joint on stage, talking about his balls.
Just heaven. Just take this plane right down.
Are you enjoying doing your show?
Yeah.
Is it stressful?
It's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yeah. But it's a lot of work, but the result, you're enjoying the process. You're enjoying.
I enjoy the process of making it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's getting great reviews.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
You're saying like, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was like, I'm going to make this show that I think is really funny, and I didn't know if people were going to be into it or not.
Well, there's a lot of darkness on your show. Like,
well, have
really
you met
funny.
me?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, you're a happy dark person. It's an unusual type of darkness. It's not overwhelming. It's not overbearing is the better word. It's, it's a fun darkness.
I like to have fun, but I do. Yeah, my mind goes dark. But it's not like, I'm not like.
Do you face any resistance, like subject matter wise, or like the things you want to cover?
No. I don't think so. Not really. No.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. But then it's like a lot of pressure on you because they're like, okay, the network, like, no notes. Well, they're letting us. Like, this season, we were like, we don't think you should be bleeping the word pussy. And they were like, all right. We were like, what?
Like, don't be a pussy or my pussy?
Either.
Whoa.
It can't be sexual.
Well, then it's never my pussy.
No, it is. My pussy.
My pussy hurts?
Yeah, that's sexual.
Does it sexual?
Well, it depends on how you say it.
Yeah. Well, that black dick. Damn, my pussy hurts.
Yeah, no.
Right.
My pussy hurts. Then it's just like, oh, she's just talking about her pussy.
So they said yes to that?
Yeah, it's not bleeped. And we were like, what?
That's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Why not? Welcome to the internet.
That's so
okay,
crazy.
the internet exists. You can't just fucking pretend those words aren't being bantered around like
but
one
I
of those
thought it was real cool of them.
badminton birds. Bink. People
Yeah.
just tossing pussy around these days.
I can't
It's a different
believe
world.
it. I know I am.
Yeah, it's a different world, right? That's all self-imposed. All their restrictions on language are completely
They're
self-imposed.
based, but I mean, people, they're just like scared. They don't want to lose their job. But I really appreciate them doing that.
Well, it's not they lose their job; it's losing advertising revenue. And the revenue that they're getting from you is you're already a controversial comedian. You're already tackling, dangerous subject matter.
Like Seinfeld.
Ha! You're throwing it at him. Oh shit! I see
No.
what you're doing.
Please, he
Hey,
doesn't.
funny is funny, right? Whatever.
Funny is funny.
So what about shit? Shit flies too, right?
What do you mean?
You could say bullshit, right? You
I
could
think
say.
I heard the phrase tonnage issue. I think you can say shit like a couple times.
Oh yeah. Now, if your show airs late at night, Like
Oh, yeah,
after a
less
certain
bleeps.
time? Do they have a difference in what they bleep and what they don't? Because I know they do with stand up.
Yeah, totally. You can, there's a lot less bleeps after.
There's
10
subject
or
matter
minute.
restrictions though, even in the unbleeped one. What's interesting, like they bleep some shit out when they aired my stand up special, my last special. They bleeped some
Great
shit out of the
special.
earlier stuff. Thank you. They bleeped some shit out of the earlier stuff that they edited out of the unedited stuff.
Yeah.
Like they decided like without the bleeping, it's just this gay marriage time machine bit I have.
Wait, what? I love that you did it. You did it in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Why did you choose Atlanta?
I love Atlanta.
You love it. I love it too.
It's an awesome city.
Yeah.
It's one of those cities that people they sleep on it.
Yeah.
They sleep on Atlanta. Atlanta's a great city. And
Those people are ready to go nuts.
it's a very diverse city too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of diversity in Atlanta. There's a lot of alternative people as far as like tattooed up and piercings. There's a lot of like real Southern people. There's a lot of black people, a lot of black people that are professionals, like a lot of black lawyers. You run into a lot of black, like more so, I think. You see more integration of black and white folks, like hanging out and partying together. You know, I see that more in Atlanta than I do almost anywhere. And I'm sure racism still exists. I'm not naive, but I think that I enjoy the diversity when I go out in Atlanta. I think it's a
good feeling.
So much so that I've thought about living there. But there's a lot of nonsense in Atlanta
There's
too.
like a bunch of people like move to Atlanta, like celebrities have houses there.
Yeah,
Just, like,
it's
get
not
really
a
into
bad
it. That's how I
spot.
feel about New Orleans. I feel like it's the same vibe there. Like it's everybody, age, race, nothing matters. Everybody's like just hanging out.
Well, I think whenever you have people that are more inclined to be partying, you're going to have people that are more inclined to be fun. You know, I mean, that's just the reality of the world that we live in.
Right.
And you could pretend to be noble by, like what you were talking about earlier, like abstaining from sex or abstaining from things that you enjoy.
Drinking or
you could pretend to be noble,
Right.
but let's get the fuck over that. This
Let's
is
just
nonsense.
like hang out,
Yeah.
have some drinks, and have fun.
Right. And who's going to be more inclined to do that is people that are more comfortable with it.
Yeah,
You know?
I love that place.
It's great. Look, the less restrictions people have, the more I think, you know, people can come to like a comfortable state on their own without being oppressed. Because that oppression is always going to make people spring back in the other way. If you tell people they can't drink, they want to drink more.
Yeah.
Tell people they can't fuck, they fuck behind every goddamn
Oh my
closed
God, the
door
girls
you can find.
I know went to Catholic school.
Oh! I dated
What?
this girl in Catholic school, and I talk about her. This poor girl could not help herself. If you rolled a dick down, it was like a ball of yarn in front of a kitten. She would just dive on it. She didn't even know what she was doing. She would dive on it like a crazy person. Like she literally, like, it's unfair if a guy pulled his cock
actual
out in front of her.
grenade.
Because for her, it was just like a fucking leprechaun showed up at the bottom of the rainbow. It was like, look, I've got the gold. It's right
Why
here.
does that happen? What happens?
Suppression, Catholic suppression, all
That's
that
so funny.
crazy. Human beings don't like to be told. Like, I have children and I have daughters, and I
Yeah.
see it very clearly. When you
Yeah.
tell them what to do, they, I want to do it anyway. But if you rationalize with them and have conversations with them and say,
Yeah.
listen, you can't do it because it's raining outside and it gets dangerous, and this is electricity, and electricity causes sparks, so you can't do it. You can't go outside with this. Oh, okay. But I want to. I know. It looks like
Yeah,
fun.
it looks great
you
right
know?
now. Yeah.
You got to go to bed. But I want to stay awake. But you got to be up in 8 hours, and you're going to be really tired. I
Yeah.
know you want to get. But listen, just relax. We'll read some stuff. I have these like rationalization conversations with them to try to avoid that backlash that comes from being an overbearing parent or an overbearing teacher.
Yeah.
That people don't like that shit.
No.
Nobody likes you telling them what to do. Just
No.
the way it is.
Right.
That's why suppression doesn't work in any form, whether it's sexual suppression or making, you know, alcohol difficult to get a hold of. People want it.
They want it even more.
Look at what the fuck is going on in Portugal. You know, they decriminalize all drugs, and they have way lower cases of HIV, way lower cases of addiction. They're all these numbers dropped. Their society like leveled out because
Yeah.
there wasn't this massive stigma attached to all this stuff anymore.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's
Would
over
you,
the last 9
would you
years.
want to take a vacation there?
I don't mean why not? Why not Portugal? I would probably. I think if you go somewhere, another country. I mean, unless I go for work, I would at least want to acquire a rudimentary grasp of the language.
Yeah.
You know, just out of respect.
Yeah, that's tough. Like
It's very hard.
Portuguese, even in Spain, like, you think you speak Spanish, and they're like, no, bitch, actually, you
Well, in
suck.
France, apparently, everybody like talks shit about the French, but
Yeah.
from my experience or my friends' experiences that I've talked to them, they say as long as you try, as long as you like
Yeah.
make some effort to communicate with them, they're very polite.
Yeah.
What they don't like is Americans like, how much is this?
Right. Why
Can
don't
I
you
give you
speak-
American
Yes.
money? And they're like shake it in front of their face.
Yeah. In Spain, you would like say something in Spanish, and they would answer you in English. And
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
That's
like,
beautiful.
shut up. But yeah,
That's
but they
great.
like didn't respect
Like,
that.
psych.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like,
sorry.
¿Cuánto cuesto? They're like $20. I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay.
Did you like Spain? Do you like
Yeah,
Spain?
I loved it.
My buddy Chris lived there for a few years.
Where?
He lived in Barcelona.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
almost
lived there
broke
for
up with
quite
a
a while.
guy because he used the Castilian lisp, and it was just the two of us. I swear, he'd be like,
What is the Castilian list?
Barcelona.
Oh, is that how they say it?
Yeah, but
Barcelona?
like, not if you're from Jersey. Like,
Wait a minute.
if you're
Over
just-
there, they say Barcelona?
Yeah.
Really? I
If
didn't
if
know
they're-
that.
I mean, not all over Spain, but if you're,
In Barcelona, they do it.
yeah, Barcelona.
And it's called the Castilian lisp?
lisp. Yeah,
That's fascinating. I learned a new thing from Amy Schumer. I had no idea that was the case.
we've
Barcelona.
talked for probably 30 hours total, and that's like,
That's the newest of the new things. I'm sure I've learned some things in the past. Let me review them. Don't get touchy. Well, he said that he never learned anything from me, and he was implying that I was a dumb girl, and that's what I felt. And that's what it triggered.
is that me? Is that me?
I'm just fucking with you.
I
Come
know,
on.
girl.
We're friends and all here.
Hey.
I learned Barcelona lisp,
Barcelona.
a Castilian lisp.
Imagine like you're just talking to your girlfriend, and she knows you're from New Jersey, and all of a sudden, just the two of you, and you're like, "Oh, Barcelona," and you're like,
Barcelona. Say it.
Right.
Say it, bitch. You know who we are.
oh my god." I was like, "Please."
España.
Yeah, España. Like,
When the next time we go to España? Wait, what? What? You mean Spain? The fuck are you saying?
you're from Trenton.
España. I believe when you're over there in the culture, you should immerse yourself.
I'm like, we're in a hotel room, and it's just the two of us.
There's a lot of annoying fucking people out there, Amy Schumer, but if it wasn't for them, we would have less to talk about.
Very true.
We wouldn't have as much fun doing comedy.
We have to air our grievances on a microphone in front of drunk people.
Yeah, and well, not only that, there's a give and a take to the universe, and if everything was all blissful, we would have literally nothing to talk about or talk shit about on stage.
Well, thank God it's far from that.
Without chaos, we wouldn't exist, Amy Schumer.
Okay.
We would not exist as comedians. There would be no need for us. If everyone achieved enlightenment, we're a dinosaur. We just don't know it yet. As soon as the machine plugs in and everybody becomes one, the transcendental mind, universal mind mesh happens due to technology, we're out of business. You got to stock up all this inside Amy Schumer money now while you can.
Okay.
Because once the fucking singularity hits, you and I are fucked.
When's the singularity hit?
Any day now. Probably 2049, but any day now could happen.
I need to get some sneakers.
You need just one dude from Silicon Valley or one gal or one guy in another country is going to come up with something, some fucking invention that's going to change the whole game and flip it right on its head. And we're all going to be able to read each other's minds and there will be no more jokes.
I'm more worried that I forgot to TiVo Divas on E this week.
I think you could probably get that on demand. We
thank
live in a
God.
new era. You can get a lot on demand.
Sorry,
A lot of
freaked out
shows.
for a second.
A lot of shows are going on demand. I see what you did there. You diffused with comedy.
Isn't that what we're doing?
I think that's what we're doing. We're good at it. Inside Amy Schumer. It's on tomorrow night, right? It seemed more
10:30.
like an interview than any conversation I've ever had with you.
No. Oh well, it's usually like a bunch of
Yeah.
animals in here.
Well, no, it's just the breaking down the mindset. Like how
I
you-
love
your
talking to
thought
you.
process. I love talking to you too. Glad we do it more often.
Yeah.
Let's do it. When are you back here again?
I'm here the next 2 weeks, and then I'm not
Okay.
here for a while.
Well, I miss you. You going back to New York?
Yeah.
Escaping with the money? Leaving with our milk and honey,
That's
going
right.
back to your dirty city on the other side of the
Bringing
world.
back the gold.
Oh, it's not cold there anymore. You can return to your lair.
That's right.
And
Dragging
wait,
my sack of
enjoy.
coins.
Well, you're hedging your bets against earthquakes, but only living here a few months out of the year. I see what you're doing.
God.
Are you scared?
Yeah.
Me too.
I just had my first one. It was not fun.
I think my pool's broken. I
I'm
noticed a
so
crack in my
sorry.
pool. Oh my God, I'm fine.
Oh
I'm
my
rich.
God.
Don't worry about it.
Oh my
But I
God.
think it's a
But
crack
wait,
in my
that's the
pool.
funniest thing I've ever
Oh
heard.
my
I think my
God.
pool's broken. I'm like, oh no. I don't know what kind of gas my yacht takes.
I noticed a crack in it the other day. I think the earthquake got me. These bitches. These motherfuckers and their earthquake. The really crazy thing is those poor crazy assholes that live on those hills. Like when you go through Laurel and you drive up the canyon and you see these people that are literally perched on these stilts.
What are you gonna do?
It's crazy. I watched one house fall apart when I first moved here. It wasn't a really big earthquake. It was a small. You know what? Actually, I want to say it might not have even been an earthquake. It was a landslide, and it was a landslide on Laurel Canyon. Like as you're going up, if you're headed towards the Improv, if you're going up the valley, on the right-hand side, there's this house that the back of it just came down and just crushed the house. And it was only that house on the street, so I'm pretty sure it was just a local landslide.
Yeah.
Just destroyed this entire house, pushed it off its foundation. It happened really recently in Malibu, too. Like, over the last couple of years, there was a neighborhood where these people got woken up in the middle of the night, these bang, bang noises, and it was their house breaking apart and falling down the hill. And they escaped. They ran out of the house just in time, where half their house went tumbling into the canyon.
How do you sleep?
Like a baby.
You do? You really do?
Like a bear, like a hibernated bear. Like a bear that got shot with a tranquilizer dart. That's how I sleep.
God, because I feel like your mind, like I
run out of gas, though. I just
That's what happens to me after 10 minutes on stage. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here.
Okay.
I'm gonna work out at midnight, and then I'll work out for like an hour or so, and then I'll be exhausted by the time 2:00 in the morning rolls out, and then I'm out. Yo.
And then how long do you sleep? When do you wake
8
up?
hours. I like to sleep 8 hours. Tomorrow I got to get up a little bit early because I got to do some ESPN type shit.
Oh, nice.
Got to talk about some fights, upcoming fights on Fox this weekend. I'm a Fox analyst. I don't know if you know, I'm a sports analyst.
I can't. No, I do. I can't believe, like, why you're Beyonce. I'm more impressed with
I'm
you
not
than Eddie
Beyonce.
Izzard. Are you sure?
No, I'm definitely not. Her or Eddie Izzard runs marathons. I'm just talking. It's a lot harder to run than marathons. I wouldn't do it.
But you use your mind, like you know, like I get tired playing chess. Like if somebody's like, oh, this like stuff with the plane, like my mind just shuts off. It's just too much for me to process, and I'm just like, z.
But you don't get tired when you're working on your show, right? I mean, you do, but you're so enthusiastic about it, right?
Yeah,
Same thing.
No, yeah, okay.
It's totally the same thing. It's completely exactly the same thing.
It's just like a different mindset.
Well, it's just you're not passionate about chess. So if you're playing chess, you're like, oh my God, I'm investing too much energy in this, fuck this. But if you're working on your show, trying to put a sketch together.
I'm like very meticulous and serious about it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. I'm just lucky that there's like more than one thing that I do. Like, between the comedy and the podcasting and the UFC stuff, they're all just fun things to me.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of fun shit to do. So, and talk to my friend Amy. That's a fun shit too.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
No, thank you. Have fun in Orlando.
We're going to have a good time. Me and Mad Flavor, a.k.a. Joey Diaz. Inside Amy Schumer is on Tuesdays at 8 p.m.
10:30.
10:30.
Mm-hmm.
What time LA time? Is it East Coast, West Coast thing? They air it over twice?
Yeah.
They air it East Coast?
10:30. And then
I got the direct TV, so sometimes
oh, sweet. You get
some
the
of the
other
things. Well, some of the things air on East Coast time.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is check your local listings, ladies and
Check
gentlemen. Inside Amy Schumer. Who else is on that lineup on Tuesday night on Comedy Central?
It follows Tosh.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great wave.
It's a sweet spot.
Oh, that is the spot. That's like the spot
it.
after Friends used to be on like Thursday night on NBC.
What show was that?
A bunch of shitty ones.
Oh,
it's
shit.
like Caroline the City. It was terrible.
Oh my God, Caroline in the City.
Yeah, Caroline the Shitty, they used to call it.
Oh, that's fucked up.
She was nice too.
I could picture that.
Just wasn't a good show. It was better than The Single Guy though. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Oof. Criminy.
I wrote visceral.
Jesus Louises.
Remember
There was a
Herman's Head?
few.
I love that show.
Don't remember. I blocked it out.
Really?
Yeah, like a finger banging in Catholic school.
You got finger banged in Catholic
No,
school?
I didn't, but I blocked it out as if it was that. I don't even know. Probably was a good show. I'm just talking shit. I don't remember it at all.
Herman's
literally.
Head.
Tuesday night, 10:30. All right, we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're awesome. AmySchumer.com, is that your website?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Go there, everybody, and follow her on Twitter. SCHUMER.
Yeah,
Amy
thank
Schumer
you.
in the fucking house. Beautiful. That was
Thanks.
fun. Thank you. And thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Onnit.com. ONNIT. Go to Onnit.com, use the code word Rogan, and save 10% off any and all supplements. Thanks also to Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com and use the code word JRE for your beautiful $110 bonus offer. Delicious and nutritious. Stamps.com. Thanks also to Squarespace. go to squarespace.com and enter the code word Joe for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase of the most awesome website building website known to man. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow. We got a lot of shit going on this week, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow is The Fighter and the Kid with Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen. And then on Wednesday, David Seaman returns, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So much love to everybody. Big kiss. Oh, Wednesday night, Ice House. We're doing a 10 p.m. show at the Ice House. So far, it's Ari Shaffir, Duncan Trussell, Tony Hinchcliffe, and me. I'm sure more people will be added. 10 p.m. show, $15. Can't go wrong. In your life, if you live and you love comedy, you must go to the Ice House, even if I'm not there, anybody there, at one time. It's the oldest comedy club in the country. It's in Pasadena. It's been there since 61. All right, go fuck yourself. We'll see you soon.